Cause
I want to do it because it's fun. It's fun to do bad things.
So did you know that you could perhaps kill somebody?
It's the greatest podcast in the world.
Yes, but I wanted to do hood rat stuff with my friends.
You don't think you should be punished for all of this?
Just a little bit, no video games for a whole weekend. I took my drummer club because I got mad at my mom, and then I saw her on the phone and she was I yanked the thing.
we gotta do the whole thing.
Gotta get our money's worth. Dude, how long is that song?
2 minutes 37 seconds. Sometimes you just gotta yank that thing. Say One Podcast, season 3, episode 11, if I'm not mistaken. Should be episode 11. Mi nombre es Edgar Antillon.
Yes. Oh, crap. I got sound coming through somewhere.
Oh shit.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, shit.
All right. This is Isaac. You know
Hey.
me.
Isaac, aka the domestic one, aka Vacation Man,
Vacation
aka
man. AKA
stressed out.
yes. Yeah. You know what though? You know what I don't do when I'm stressed out?
Stress out.
I don't drink when I'm stressed out.
Oh shit.
I wish I had a normal drinking problem. I think it would make things easier on me.
Hey, I ain't got no issues. Let me get drunk.
Things are going great. Time to get hammered. I don't know. I don't know. I don't feel the urge to ingest anything when I'm stressed out. I don't know why that is. As a child of an alcoholic, that doesn't make any sense to me.
It's probably a smarter thing though.
I'm not complaining, except when I see other people who are like, "Yeah, I don't have any problems. I'm drunk." Like, oh, that must feel nice. Yeah. Welcome. Sorry it's been so long. It's summertime. Things are busy. I just got back from California, which is beautiful, man. It's a beautiful state.
You went to California?
I think I'm going to move there. Actually, I tell you what. The last time I went to California, I went to Los Angeles, and I was like, I'm never coming back here again. This time I went to San Diego, and I was like, I could live here.
Oh, what a change of tune. What a change of tune.
I don't know why.
I think I think you're I think intellectually you're coming to the realization that no matter where you go, it's all fucked up anyways.
It's true. That is true. But also in San Diego, I got in the water quite a bit and was enjoying myself.
You got some salty balls.
Man, I caught a wave and I ran into this surfer so freaking
Nice.
hard. It was glorious. I felt like I was initiated once again. So we had these little Walmart boards that we got for the kids, and of course I was like, "Oh, let me show you how to use it," and broke it. I broke one of them.
Nice.
And I was like, it's fine. I can still ride waves with it. So I tried to catch this wave, and as the wave is throwing me forward and I'm turning around, I look in front of me and there's a guy sitting on a surfboard with the look of terror on his face. Like, this guy is going to hit me. And I'm like, yes, I am. Here we go.
you know what's up. You know what's up.
And he was apologizing. I was like, I think that was my fault, but okay, you can apologize.
I think at some point the wave just takes you where it needs to take you.
Dude. Oh, here's the funniest thing that happened. There were dolphins and sea lions everywhere, which I've seen dolphins and sea lions in California before, but I've never seen this many, and I've never seen them this close. And they were everywhere. And I was out in the water enjoying watching these dolphins, watching sea lions, and this guy next to me sees a dorsal fin and flips out. He jumps on his board and he starts paddling back towards the shore as fast as he can. And I'm yelling at him like, "Hey, dude, hey, it's a dolphin." And he's like, "Shark, shark, shark." And he can't hear me because he's paddling so hard. I'm yelling at him. I'm like, "It's a dolphin." He's, "Shark."
I don't think there's any sharks this week because they're getting ready for the Discovery Channel. And
well, actually, we'd spent all week in the hotel room watching Shark. What do they call it on National Geographic? They have a different name for it.
Oh,
Shark Fest. So we're spending the evenings at home watching sharks attack people, and then we're going out in the water during the day.
fuck yeah.
And the reason why there's so many dolphins and sea lions around is because this big warm current came through and brought all these fish, I guess, close to the shore. And so it didn't occur to us until later that if there's dolphins and sea lions eating, then there must be sharks too.
Must be.
But we didn't
Has
get
to be.
bit. So
That's weird to have that much of a warm front, since all that water comes from Alaska, right?
I think sometimes it comes up from Mexico. Actually, that's when you probably should be careful in the water when you feel that warm current, because it's coming up
From Mexico.
from Mexico, where they're not. Tijuana is not quite as careful with their water runoff as United States. Although I will say that Los Angeles has a pretty good reputation for making people sick when they get in the water. So
Yeah.
I guess it's more what you're used to.
Yeah, buddy.
So are you an ocean-going fellow? Do you like to get in the water?
I don't. I don't like to get in any water that any other human being has been in.
Even the ocean?
Well, you it's all in one concentrated area, so yeah, even the ocean.
It's not concentrated.
Oh, there's like fucking thousands in just like this one little section.
Yeah,
There's doo-doo particles and fucking pee-pee particles everywhere. I'm good.
that's what makes you stronger.
I'm good on that shit.
I was trying to go take a leak in the ocean, but it was so cold that just letting the water get anywhere near my nuts was out of the question. So I just started peeing before I even got in the water.
And I generally don't like the ocean. It's just pretty boring.
Boring? It's trying to kill you 100% of the time.
Well, everything's trying to kill you 100% of the time, but like oceans is just visually not very appealing.
You're a hard person to please.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Ask the midgets.
Ask the midgets. So I hear audio coming through, but I don't know if you're picking it up. I don't know where it's coming through at.
I don't know. Probably your phone.
Could be my phone. I don't even know where my phone is.
Uh-oh.
I found it. Okay. So there's been some disturbances
In the ether.
in the ether.
What are these disturbances?
Did you see the Black Lives Matter march in Colorado Springs last week?
Not in Springs, no.
So the police officer who shot and killed Devon Bailey apparently lives at this house in Colorado Springs, and he had like 50 or 70, somewhere between 50 and 70 protesters show up in front of his house last week, demanding him fire himself, I guess, and charge himself with a crime.
Okay.
I don't really understand that. They were in front of his house chanting that he needed to be fired and that he needed to be charged with murder. Like, you're talking to the wrong person.
yeah. Go to the chief's house.
Go to the chief's house. Go to the DA's house.
Yeah.
Why are you at his house? So that was a little interesting because they were in a neighborhood. But what was even more interesting is they took over the streets, and a couple people were trying to go home, and they blocked the street not only with their bodies, but they actually blocked it with a car. And this one guy, he had like 3 or 4 people around his truck, basically threatening him with rifles.
That's what I don't like. I don't get these protests of like stopping, and I'm sure it's been talked about before, but I've never heard a clarification from these protesters. Like, why do you want traffic stop?
I believe that's how they get their message across, and it's a really good way to provoke a response from somebody without, like, and you can still call yourself peaceful.
Yeah.
So, like, we're not doing anything wrong. We're just protesting, but you're blocking the street. And then when anybody acts even remotely aggressive with their vehicle, then you shoot at them, which is what happened on 225.
Well, even just trying to go around, like, nah, I'm good. No, you're going to stay there. Like, nah, like, I got shit to do. Like, I got...
Mm-hmm. No, nothing's more important than Black lives. So you're staying put.
Yeah, that's what I just don't get.
So I don't know. I keep going back and forth on this because, part of me is like, you should stand up for yourself and you shouldn't let these people, claim the streets for themselves and basically hold you hostage. And at the same time, it's like, is this worth getting into a potentially deadly encounter over?
Yeah.
And if in this case with this guy, they're like, well, he could have ran him over. Well, no, he couldn't. The way was, the road was blocked by a car. Even if he drove over the protesters, he would run into a car and he'd have nowhere to go.
Correct.
And I'm sure this guy was armed because when he did get home, he actually only lived a few houses down from where the protest was happening. He brought out an AR into his driveway to keep people away from him. So I'm certain this guy had a gun on him in the car. Well, I'm not certain, but I'm reasonably sure he had a gun in the car. But he's surrounded by 4 or 5 people with rifles, so even if he shoots one person, like, he's not surviving that encounter.
Nah.
So
yeah, that's crazy, dude.
Oh, and the cops were a big help.
Never.
The cops pulled up a half a block away with a van with a directed, what do they call that, long-range acoustic device, and basically asked the protesters to please get out of the road.
Get away. Leave. Don't do that. Stop.
Eventually they did. I watched, KRDO had the full uncut video, which was like an hour and a half long, and I watched most of it. They let him go after 15 or 20 minutes, but not before they had threatened him, a few times.
Yeah.
And like some of these people carrying these guns are not exactly real good at muzzle awareness. And so you could very easily say that they pointed the gun at him, even though maybe it was intentional, maybe it wasn't, so that's a real sticky situation. But the point is this guy's basically being held hostage by armed people in the streets, and the cops are like, please move from the road. You're blocking traffic, So
that's insane. Like it's hard to, I don't know. It's difficult to jump on board. Well, no, it's not, because we know this shit's hijacked. We know it's most of them are pretentious white liberals, as we've stated, and many people have stated that is just a completely hijacked. And that's unfortunate, and that's just fucking unfortunate. But
well, whatever. I wonder. Is any political, or I should say populist uprising trustworthy? You know, I know that the slave rebellions were, and
Yeah.
generally a good indication that it is a genuine grassroots led by the people uprising is when it gets smashed immediately, because the people never really do have enough power on their
Correct.
own.
Correct.
Even the American Revolution was being pushed and helped along by the French, and so I wonder if there is ever any real hope for, you know, a true rejection of a authoritarian power. You know,
Yeah.
what's going on in Minsk right now in Belarus is a little suspicious. Everybody's like, look at these people throwing off this dictatorship. It's like, yeah, well, you know, there's gas lines that go through that country that we have a vested interest in and the Russians have a vested interest in, and like Ukraine, Georgia, Venezuela, like I don't really trust any of these.
Yeah.
So I want to know what Jason Pound is talking about. So BLM supports pedos now.
Yeah. I don't know what that's all about.
Jason, you
But
got to give us more information.
I do know this though. I was talking to Miguel, and we were talking about the problem with this whole pedo shit, man. And I'm gonna say right now, if everybody starts jumping on board with pedos and other sexuality, like I'm gone from this bitch.
that's your
Oh, dude.
that's your eject point.
Like, if are you kidding? If like I've already stated that I'm kind of not even feeling like the U.S. is any better than any other country at this.
Oh, you mean just leaving?
Just gone.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I'm not gonna kill myself.
It's like
No.
that's a weird eject point.
No. No. Leave the country.
Well, I'm
Leave
gonna read you a story that's gonna make you feel better. This was posted to the Daily Enquirer, which I think is a local Florida newspaper, on July 27th, 2020. The headline is "Pedophiles decapitated corpse found on judge's doorstep after bail hearing in Ocala, Florida." I'll read the byline. Why can I not read right now? The decapitated corpse was found on a judge's doorstep in Ocala, Florida, has been identified as belonging to a notorious pedophile who was recently allowed to walk free on bail by the judge, according to reports. So,
Okay.
he was arrested last month following allegations by his then girlfriend that he had raped her 8-year-old daughter. So there's at least one person who agrees with you.
Like,
So-
like, if we as an entire nation collectively start supporting this whole stupid fucking psychotic idea of like it's okay to have sex with 8-year-olds because it's just another thing.
Yeah, this
Like-
is the epitome of the slippery slope argument, because the argument is that all sexualities are okay, and then they say, well, I'm attracted to children, but I'm not acting on it. Well, as long as you're just attracted to children, you're not acting on it, then that's okay. And like that's a pretty cut and dry slippery slope right there. Because how can you argue with that logic if you accept that logic? You know?
Yeah,
I'm
so good. So, country be warned. As I leave, I would be fucking lighting the bitch on fire. Because you know, to a large extent, we've talked about this before. I tolerate bullshit, and it's all in benefit of a certain lifestyle and benefit of a certain comfort and peace or whatever. I tolerate laws because I don't want to fight them, because it's really not worth my time to fight them, or it's really not that big of a fucking deal because I can break the law without having to really fight the law, if that makes sense. But once you collectively as an entire nation start to accept that, yeah, that's not a big deal, that fucking bumping uglies with kids is okay, that's when you can straight up just, this place can go to fucking hell if that happens.
Yes. So in the interest of full disclosure, that's actually not a real news story. Dang it.
God damn it.
I was trying to pull up the link and found out that I'd been had.
You've been
Jason
had.
says that Devon Bailey was a pedophile, and Devon Bailey was currently under investigation for sexually abusing a child. I don't know the details of what the charges were.
And that's where we have to be careful. And I've had to keep myself accountable at this too. Is just there are some people who being accused of it and haven't been convicted of it, and it hasn't been proven. So I still have to objectively say, just because somebody has been accused of it doesn't necessarily mean it's true.
Right.
Now we get emotional about, oh, he was accused of doing such and such, and the emotions come up because you think, oh fuck, this could have been an 8-year-old kid that was being fucking molested or raped by a piece of shit. But there are some times where it's just like, no, that's not the case. It's just misinformation, or the ex was trying to get payback, or whatever it is.
There's any number of possibilities about why that could be untrue.
Correct.
The point, though, is that if you value the Constitution, if you value the rights that are outlined in the Bill of Rights, you have to accept that until society has reached the threshold where we accept this person's guilt, that person needs to be treated, at least by the state, as
Correct.
innocent until proven guilty.
Now if I catch you in the fucking act, like you're going on fire, bitch.
Yeah.
We gonna let you up.
And even that is still it's a violation of the due process.
Oh, 100%. But if I catch you
But-
raping a little kid, you're gonna be lit on fire.
So there's definitely like what's the word I'm looking for? There's a
Oh,
disconnect there. There's a
oh.
disconnect because you have the right to protect people, and
But they have
it's-
the right to the due process.
But they have the right to due process.
Nope, not in that case.
Well, what you're accepting there is the
Correct.
consequences of your action. Like there was this, there's this old video, and it was just brought up again recently. I think I saw it either on AR15.com. I think somebody brought it up there, or maybe I saw it on Reddit. But I'm familiar with this story. This guy's kid gets kidnapped by, I think, his like karate teacher or something, and taken out of state and sexually abused, and they catch the guy and they arrest him. And when they bring him back on extradition, the kid's father is waiting in the airport pretending to be on a payphone. He pulls this off incredibly. He's pretending to be on a payphone. As soon as the perp walks past him,
A time
pulls
to
out a
kill type
gun.
shit?
What's that?
A time to kill type shit?
Yeah, exactly. As soon as the guy walks past him, he pulls out a gun and shoots him in the head.
Good.
And immediately drops the gun, puts his hands behind his back, and goes to prison.
Good.
And I think in that case, when you're talking about the family, there's a certain acceptance of like, well, what are you going to do to stop them?
Yeah.
But at the same time, we are all endowed with the right to be treated fairly in our society.
Correct.
And a fair trial is what we've accepted as a representation of that.
Yeah.
We've all agreed that you get a trial. And if the trial says that you're not guilty, we may not like it, but we have to accept it.
Yeah.
O.J. Simpson, great example. And it's hard to do. Ron Goldman's parents went after O.J. with the next legal instrument that they had after that
Is it
trial.
Goldman or Goldstein? I always say Goldstein.
It's Goldman because I was just watching the miniseries. So they went after him with the next thing that they had, which was the civil suit. And it worked, because at the time OJ didn't really have any money, but he ended up writing that book, and he had to give all that money to the Goldmans.
Oh,
And
he did end up
basically,
paying it back.
well, he didn't. He's never going to meet his financial obligation there. But the Goldmans have essentially ensured that he will never have any sort of wealth at all, and his kids won't. And so yes, Devon Bailey. I mean, I got no sympathy for him, but you can't just if you value due process, you can't just call him a pedophile.
Yeah,
I mean-
I don't know enough about him to really understand.
I do know this though. I do know he just got done aggravated robbery on somebody right before that happened. So it's not like he was an angel,
Correct.
Again, it's not like a justification for shooting him. And on the other point there, Black Lives Matter supporting a pedophile, like these people that are getting shot. What do you mean these people? These people that are getting shot, it does not matter who they are. This is all just a pretext to go after society, to tear down the current system.
Oh
So,
yeah.
the guy who got shot in Chicago yesterday shot at the police, and he didn't even die. Like, they shot him a couple times and slowed him down, put him in the hospital. He's not even dead. And they used it as a pretext to tear apart Michigan Avenue in Chicago. Did you watch any of that?
No.
Oh my God. I haven't watched very many of these live streams, but I was watching last night, and the police departments in this country are completely outmatched.
Oh yeah, dude. If civilization really wanted to fucking get at him, they could.
Mayor Lightfoot was like, we sent 300 officers downtown. Like, the people who were down there outnumbered the police officers, not by much, but by enough that the police were pretty much ineffective.
The only part I seen is one cop that looked like a complete fucking douchebag, man. He looked. I don't know if you've seen Orange Is the New Black.
No, I mean, I know what it is, but I haven't watched any of it.
So there's this guard in that one, and has a little mustache. He ends up going to prison for fucking one of the chicks and getting her pregnant. But the stereotypical fucking cop with just the 1970s porn star mustache.
Did he have hair coming out of his hat, like bushy hair? Coming
He
out from underneath?
had no hat, no helmet. And he was just with this fucking baton walking around telling people to leave, and all of a sudden he takes like a rock or something to the fucking face. Boom.
Ooh.
Fucking gets him square in the fucking nose. That shit was pretty cool. And then the chase was on after that. That's the only video I seen from that one.
So I saw the police stop a car that was full of looted items. They pulled everybody out of the car, and then they emptied the car into the street. They pulled out everything out of the car, all the looted items, and then they told the people to get back in their car and leave. It's like, what? And then they're kicking, like they're kicking.
Here's what I want to know. What the fuck did they do with the looted items?
They were in the street. The cops were just kicking them out of the street to the curb. It was just clothes and stuff. It was,
Yeah, but what are they going to do with the fucking looted items? Are they going to take it back?
Nothing. No, nothing. I'm pretty sure every item that once it leaves the store, it's counted under the insurance claim.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So at that point, why even bother?
Well, why stop them if you're not going to arrest them?
Correct.
Why not arrest them if you're stopping them?
Correct.
And there's this guy who was live streaming, and the cops run up to him. He's on his bike. He's not doing anything. He's just riding his bike around, just live streaming, and the cops run up to him, and they're like, you need to get out of here. And he's like, I live here. They're like, doesn't matter. Go home. And he's like, I am home. And then they just leave him alone, and he doesn't even go anywhere. He just stays where he is.
Dude, have you? That reminds me something I want to talk about. Have you seen that YouTube channel? It's called Audit the Audit. Oh, dude, it's a pretty, well, for me anyways. It's been pretty addictive. But basically, you know about auditors, right? First Amendment auditors.
First Amendment auditors? No, I don't.
So First Amendment auditors are individuals who one could say probably instigate situations with cops.
Mm-hmm.
And the way they do it is they go to government buildings or high security areas like oil establishments and shit like that. So they'll go to fucking oil pumps and refineries and shit like that. And what they do is they just stand on the street or the sidewalk with the camera and just film. Essentially to the point where they get the cops called on them, and then they begin to audit the cops on their knowledge of rights and shit like that, because it's technically not illegal to go into City Hall and start recording.
Mm-hmm.
So they do that. Well, this YouTube channel, Audit the Audit, what they do is they take videos of audits or any police interaction, not just shit like that, and he gives them kind of a score. I think he's an attorney, and he gives them a score. I appreciate it because it's subjective. It's like, I'm going to talk shit about the fucking cops, and I'm also going to talk shit about the person who created the video,
Mm-hmm.
the person getting harassed or arrested or whatever the case may be. But pretty cool fucking channel if you're interested in seeing the issues with policing overall,
Mm-hmm.
their lack of knowledge of the laws, and also crucial for us to understand what our rights and laws are and shit like that. It's a pretty addictive.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out because, yeah, like people are talking about defunding the police and getting rid of the police, and there's plenty of examples of the police just doing a terrible, terrible job.
There was one. I seen this one. It was an 18-year-old kid. Mom let him borrow the car to go to work, I believe, and he made a wide turn. So he gets pulled over, and young black kid, and the cop. He was on the phone with his mom, and the cop, the kid's like, "Hey, they're pulling me over. I'm gonna keep you on speaker." At this point, mom's putting on her fucking shoes and she's on her way to the scene.
Mm-hmm.
And the cop starts fishing. Where you coming from? Where you going? And the dude's like, "The fuck you pull me over for?" To begin with, he didn't cuss.
Mm-hmm.
So the cops are like, "Oh, you made a wide turn." He's like, "Oh, okay. I guess I'm sorry. Can I just get my ticket? I'm on my way to work." That type of shit. And I guess one of their tells is if they don't answer or something, they get like I'd have to watch the video again. But then in this one moment, like the kid was already told why he was pulled over. He didn't have any guns on him. He didn't smell of marijuana, none of that shit. But they wanted to bring the dogs out, so they just needed any excuse to bring the dogs out. So they brought the dog out, and they said it got a hit. And that department, apparently, I think it was Nashville, if I'm not mistaken. That department has been known for falsifying hits with the dog,
Mm-hmm.
like doing the false positives.
No, I've been assured that never happened. So
Yeah, never. So they're like, "Oh, the dog got a hit, so now we're gonna have to search your car. We're gonna have to search the whole thing." And the kid's frustrated. He's like, "I just want to fucking get to work." Like at this point, mom shows up. And he's like, "I need to ask you," the cop tells the kid, "I need to ask you something. Why do you have a bad perception of the cops?" And then this whole time I'm just like, what the fuck kind of stupid fucking question is this? Why are you stupid, fool?
So when we talk about policing, going back to the example of the of Colorado Springs, and this protest that's going on in the neighborhood, the city had another issue a few weeks back where a bunch of protesters took over I-25, and they were out there on the road for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And the police were like, "Well, we were formulating our response." What does that? They had already shut down the highway. There's nobody out there except the protesters.
Yeah.
The highway is shut down. You have you have them corralled, essentially. There is a wall on both sides of the highway. What opportunity are you waiting for to deal with this? And then they said, well, by the time we got our response together, they had already left, so we couldn't arrest anybody. When people see that, it's like, okay, you could have one cop who pulls somebody over for a wide right turn and goes on a fishing expedition and brings down the dog and gets him to hit on something that isn't there. And that's just a bad apple. But you have an entire department not able to mount a response to people who have taken over the interstate.
Yeah,
I mean, that's indefensible.
correct.
That's incompetence at best.
Well, you see what happened in Denver, where people were legitimate being attacked, regardless of where you stand politically. Like people were like fighting, and people were trying to leave and prevented from leaving, and then getting attacked because they wanted to leave. These are people that were just there. Now, the cops didn't do a motherfucking thing. They just hung back and just like, no, that's cool. You're getting your ass beat.
So that's the entire department. That's the entire command structure. That's all the decision making being done is incompetent. The example from the protest in the neighborhood where you have one of your fellow officers being intimidated, threatened by armed people on the sidewalk in front of your house, and you still can't figure out what to do about it. I'm like, how are you asking for our support right now? I drive by a billboard on Powers that's like a pro police billboard. Thanks for all you do.
Yeah.
What? What are you doing? What are you doing?
Arresting people or harassing people for wide turns, dude.
Like seatbelt. I want you to know, though, seatbelt enforcement is on.
It is on.
It is on. You better put your seatbelt on, or you're going to get pulled over.
And I think we're now starting to see exactly what the frustration has been for so many years by Mexicans and black people. Because again, I like, for me, I've got to reemphasize. I seriously, like, I don't see a bunch of, like, I don't see Maj out there with Black Lives Matter.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see Devin out there. I don't see Darrell out there with these people, because I don't think they really are who they say they are. I don't think they have the black community's interest at heart. Now, I don't know them. I don't hang out with them, so I'm not going to say that 100%. I'm talking about Black Lives Matter. I do know people who used to be a part of them and then deassociated themselves from them, and now are doing black activism completely separate because of what we already know. It was hijacked by a lot of fucking trust fund hippies. So,
well, yeah, trust fund hippies at the local level, huge elites at the macro level.
Correct. So, but there's still a lot of that frustration where it's just like, this is exactly what we're talking about, is we get harassed and we get guns pointed at, and we get for making a wide turn and then looking suspicious.
Mm-hmm.
And their excuses as well. You always look suspicious. You were looking suspicious. So these audits are a good indicator that when you see these cops getting absolutely pissed off, because the dude's like, what did I don't think I've ever seen the lady doing this, so I'm going to say dude, because it's all been men that I've seen do. But their basic questions like, what am I doing wrong? Like, why do I have to give you my name,
mm-hmm.
my date of birth, all that stuff if you can't tell me what I'm doing wrong? Oh, well, we're trying to figure it out. No, you're fishing.
Mm-hmm.
And then when there is actually serious shit, like a truck runs through your fucking front of your store, and the cops come in and take 2 pictures, and they're like, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Like, you don't know what to tell me right now, but if I were to like speed 10 miles over the speed limit, you'll go on a fucking fishing expedition trying to figure out if there's anything else you can intimidate me with, or plant shit or whatever. Mm-hmm. And that's been the huge fucking that's stuff that we've known about for decades, and I think all of America is slowly starting to figure out right now.
I think that is one thing that we can thank the Marxists at Black Lives Matter for, which is exposing this incompetence or criminality. I'm gonna default to incompetence.
Yeah.
There's definitely criminality, but on the whole, just for now, I'm gonna say incompetence.
Correct.
Exposing that to the privileged cisgendered white elite. Because we will like, I believe it, but until you see it, it's different.
Mhm.
And to watch people surround this car with guns pointed at them, and the police are just sitting there in a van. Hey guys, you need to get out of the street. Car. Like,
Not even
okay.
not even like put your guns down or anything.
No. Just please move out of the street. It shows you like, oh yeah, either they can't do anything or they refuse to. The outcome is the same. Because somebody's going to get, I mean, people have already been killed. That kid in Austin, Texas is dead because the police allowed that behavior to happen.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to put all the blame on the cops for one person shooting another person, but their actions certainly contributed to that.
Correct.
Well, it's legal to open carry in Texas, so what are they going to arrest him for? How about being in the street and pointing guns at people?
For no reason. Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
arrested for jaywalking. Like, jaywalking is not peacefully assembling. That's not part of peaceably assembling. Jaywalking, blocking streets, and people are like, well, the civil. I've seen this comment made several times. The civil rights movement, they used to march in the streets. There's a difference between letting the police officers know ahead of time, we're going to do a march, we're going to use the streets, and here's our route, and here is our plan. And I'm not down with permits. I am down with not disrupting the entire city, though, and just saying, hey, here's what we're going to do. We're going to march from this place to this place. We're going to
And that happens every year for many different political reasons. Like it happens every year. The fucking crazy third wave feminists did that shit last year. I don't think they pulled permits, but they said, hey, we're going to fucking march on the fucking streets, and the media knew about it. Everybody knew about it. So everybody was like, I guess we're just not going to fucking go over there. So it's not like it doesn't happen already, and it continues to happen. So
yeah, and when you organize a march, how many times have you ever seen a car plow through an organized march that is, using the public street as a way to get from one place to another, as opposed to what these people are doing, which is basically hijacking the road in order to disrupt people on purpose.
correct.
Like, they're not going anywhere. They're just standing in the street, daring people to drive at them. If you, there was a video I watched, man, I don't know if I can find the link to it, but I just happened upon these two videos. This guy had shot kind of undercover. He was down at a Black Lives Matter march in Denver, just on some random weeknight, and he was videotaping it, but not, he was not on their side, but he was in the middle of them. And these people are blocking the street with barrier, like they're waiting for a red light, and then they block the street with barriers, cones, signs, all that stuff, and then they start walking amongst the cars, screaming at the people in the car. And if you raise up your fist and you give your little beep beep, like, yeah, then they're like, oh, all right, you're on our team. But if you're not actively participating, you're automatically viewed as the enemy, as a potential enemy.
Yeah.
And you're being held hostage there for 8 minutes and 45 seconds or however long George Floyd's neck was being crushed. And then they let you go. That is not a protest. That's a form of kidnapping, in my opinion.
I don't know exactly how. I'm still conflicted. I definitely don't. I don't see it as effective now. Going to the Aurora Police Department and surrounding that motherfucker, and be like, "Hey, motherfuckers, you guys are a bunch of pieces of shit." Like, I'm cool with that, because now your anger is directed towards the correct.
And Aurora PD is notoriously corrupt.
Oh yeah, dude.
It's not like one officer made a mistake.
Oh yeah, that whole place is a fucking shithole. Them in Denver. No, I don't. I'm not at a point where I can say, oh, fucking, start injuring people and shit like that. I don't think we're quite there. I don't think we're at that point for me, anyways.
I'm interested to know like where that line really is for people, because if you had told pretty much any right-leaning Republican gun-owning quote unquote patriot 1 year ago where we would be right now,
Yeah.
they would have told you that this line would have been crossed for them already, and they'd be shooting in the streets.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think for me, as somebody who heavily believes in the non-aggression principle, like it goes a little bit further. It's just like I think the whole government needs to be dismantled. I think that's the big problem, but that's never going to happen. But I can't hold one cop accountable. Like if a cop was never there, wasn't part of it, didn't witness it, didn't allow it to happen. Like the George Floyd thing, I can hold that whole bunch, that 4 cops that were there, because they all watched it happen. One did it. The other ones were complicit. So I can hold them all accountable, but I can't, in good conscience, go up to a cop who's never done anything, even though I disagree completely with their profession. I can't go up to them in good conscience and say, hey, you know what? I think you're a piece of shit. Now you need to die.
Yeah.
Just for throwing on a uniform, just because it goes against the non-aggression principle. So for me, it's, I don't know, we're just not at war. It's just.
So I've been exposed to this idea recently, and the more I pay attention, the more I appreciate this idea. And the idea is basically, you may have an idea of what the society needs in order to get better.
Yeah.
But in actuality, you have no idea.
Correct.
Society's too complex. The factors at play you don't understand. And for you to believe that you have some kind of cure for the system is the height of hubris and narcissism.
Yeah.
So you can't even figure yourself out. Like you
Correct.
can't even fix yourself. You're going to fix the government. You're going to fix society. And so I look at all the things that are going on. I'm like, man, this sucks. I do not like this. This bothers me. Thinking about getting caught in just some random protest that I didn't know what's happening, and I've got my family in the car, and now I'm afraid for my life. Like that definitely gets my interest up. But for me to say, well, we should all be in the street shooting by now, like I have no idea if that's going to help. I have no idea if that's going to work, if that's going to fix anything. And those are huge stakes to possibly be that wrong about. It's not like, do I hit on 16 or do I stand? It's like, do I participate in taking somebody's life or do I let this play out?
Correct.
So if you're in an example where it applies to you directly and you're like, well, I need to preserve my own safety here, or I need to save my family from a mob, then yeah, I'm planning on doing whatever I need to do to make that happen. But to say like, what we need as a society right now is to start hanging liberals in the streets to send them, like, how is that going to help? How do you know that's going to help?
Yeah. And it's stupid. One of the I'm slightly going to change the tune a little bit, but it has everything to do with this, because it's one of these moments where you just have to realize, and people should know this already. Like I'm sure you've been in these situations before where you realize, like, I get mad over some stupid shit, like like you're like, I'm so insignificant in the grand scheme of things. Like I've always been intrigued by the universe. It's just very intriguing in the world and how it just fucking sits there and it floats and gravity and all that shit. One of my best homies growing up is Einstein. And one of the things that I just found out, now I had to disprove it, so it's not quite as amazing as I thought it was, but what is it? The deepest point on Earth is like 5 miles deep, if I'm not mistaken. What's it called?
Marianas Trench.
Yeah, Marianas Trench is how deep?
It's I want to say it's like it's deeper than Everest is high, but not like a whole lot deeper. I think it's in the neighborhood of like 30.
Marianas Trench is 36,000.
Oh, I was gonna say 35.
Yeah, 36,000 feet, and K2 is Everest.
Everest is 29 something.
Close. We'll call it 30 because I think it's close enough to 30.
Actually, getting higher every year.
Probably. So the idea that the deepest point on Earth is 7 miles deep.
Mm-hmm.
7 miles. Like, think about that shit. It's only 7 miles, and the highest point on Earth is 6 miles high.
And both of those environments will kill you so fast.
Quick. Now, if you scale everything, the circumference of the Earth is 24, call it 25,000 miles. If you were to scale everything down to the size of a cue ball, like, you can rub the fucking Earth, and Everest you could barely fucking feel.
Yeah, I heard that the surface of the Earth would, if you brought it down to the size of a cue ball, it would be smoother than a cue ball.
Well, I debunked that. Like, I did the math, and I think Everest would be like 45 microns
Okay.
high. So that's high enough to feel it a little bit. So I don't think it's quite.
So you're saying Neil deGrasse Tyson is a dirty, rotten liar?
Is a dirty fucking rotten liar. Yes.
Okay. I knew it.
Dirty.
I already knew that.
He's a fucking liar.
And he's not smart.
He's smart, but
I
I think sometimes he gets full of himself, and he's like,
oh, he definitely does get full of himself.
whatever I say is fucking truth. So I didn't hear it from him. I heard it from him after I was looking it up. I forget where I had heard this, and then I found the video when I was doing my research for this shit, and found out that in microns, cue ball, the pores in the cue balls are like 4 microns or some shit like that. And Everest would scale down would be half of a centimeter, half of a millimeter.
Okay.
So enough to feel it a little bit. Not much. But that's just mind-boggling to think that the highest point on Earth to us, like, if you go to Everest, shit, when I'm at the base of fucking Pikes Peak, I'm like, this is fucking enormous.
Even just driving around in town and looking up at it.
It is fucking gigantic. Can you imagine being at the base of Everest, 30,000 feet up? Enormous. And then in the grand scheme of things, it's like, you couldn't even feel. If I was a giant, I couldn't even feel that shit.
It's not even just Everest. It's the entire mountain range, and it's like barely registers. And on top of that, we're like, what, the 4th largest planet in the solar system? We don't even register compared to like Jupiter and Saturn. And our star is like on the small side of what stars are in the universe, and our mediocre galaxy,
Our atmosphere is this fucking thin.
Yeah,
like it is seriously that fucking thin. Our atmosphere, like it's nothing to us. It's enormous, and it's like fucking hundreds of or a few thousand feet high.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like nothing. So the reason I bring this up is because it's those moments where it's just like, God damn, like, I consume my time and energy over some worthless fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, if you're a racist, you hate black people, which is probably why we're having some of the issues we're having right now. It's just like, why? Like, you're so insignificant to everything that it doesn't even matter.
Well,
like,
I think it's definitely a way of manufacturing some significance for yourself.
That's the only thing, because you are that insignificant. I know a lot of people are like, well, we're here for something or whatever, and maybe it's true, maybe it's not, but at the end of the day, it's just like, we're still insignificant.
Definitely don't take yourself as seriously as it's weird because I think on some level people need to take themselves more seriously, and on other levels people need to chill out and realize like,
and I don't say that in a negative thing. I don't
Yeah.
in a negative way. I'm not saying that, oh, you fucking suck, you might as well just die right now. I'm just saying like it's you put too much importance and stuff in shit that just doesn't absolutely matter.
mhm.
Like none whatsoever. Like a what fucking president you have and what leadership. Like obviously some of it affects our day to day, but at the end of the day, it's just not that fucking serious at all, like, in any way, shape, or form.
I think personally for myself, practicing gratitude towards my current situation helps me feel a little bit less intense, you know.
Yeah.
Like, so we did that survival class a couple weekends ago, and that was 51 hours of difficulty. I'm not even going to say it was that hard.
Yeah.
Like, it seemed hard because we didn't know what we were getting into, and blah, blah, blah. But honestly, it wasn't that bad. It really wasn't. So it was 51 hours with barely any sleep, almost no food, and a lot of hiking and a lot of carrying around heavy backpack and a rifle and trying to navigate and all that stuff. And after it was over, I come home and I get in my bed and I'm like, man, I am so lucky I get to sleep in this thing almost every night. This bed is comfortable. My sheets are clean. You know, I have air conditioning. I don't have to worry about, you know, a lot of things that pretty much everybody in the history of the planet before the last 100 years had to worry about.
Correct.
And still a lot of people on the planet currently do have to worry about.
Correct.
And I'm just laying there. It's like, man, it really makes you understand that you're lucky in so many ways.
Correct.
So Joel says, I got all that in the Army. Actually, the guy who was teaching it was a Green Beret and Army Green Beret, blah, blah, blah. I didn't need to say Army Green Beret. Anyway, he was, I think Akil was kind of frustrated with us. Like, come on, man. Come on, man. You can't do this. Like, this is not even that bad. He actually took pity on us for the last big exercise we did, which was to do land navigation. He let us do it without our rucks. It's like, carry a rifle, but you don't have to carry a ruck. And he's like, man, I'm taking it easy on you guys. You know, I think people definitely manufacture. We need problems. Human beings need problems. That's how we spend most of our time solving problems. In fact, that's how we get satisfaction and happiness. We get it from solving problems. So when there aren't any problems to solve, we make up problems to solve. And we're really good at that.
Yeah.
And we direct all our energy towards solving those problems, which is good. We should be solving problems, but we should also recognize, like, hey, we should chill out a little bit, you know? Most of the people who want to solve society's problems for us, their lives are a mess.
Correct.
Because their focus is outward instead of inward.
Oh, absolutely.
And
that's kind of been a common theme with our podcast, is just like, you're probably the problem.
Yeah. Yeah. Leave me alone. You're the problem.
The irony of that is just like, you got to self-assess as we're telling you to self-assess.
Yeah, you need to fix yourself. Stop trying to fix all the problems. That's your problem. There's an irony in that, which is like, how do you communicate at all if you don't talk about that kind of
Correct.
stuff?
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's not really my concern what you do. Although it is and it isn't. You know, we do have a responsibility to hold people accountable and call out things that are wrong when we see them.
Yeah.
But you can't take on the world's problems. You know, you can only do so much. You can only do what you can do. And anything else, you got to let it go.
Yeah. Oh, fuck yeah, dude. So Richard says all this is to say that you agree with the renaming Uranus. What's the name change?
Artie?
Is that the name change?
No, I don't know. Are they talking about changing the name?
Well, I don't know.
Oh, okay. I was watching ET the other day, and that joke was in the movie. Get it? Your anus.
Your anus.
So
See, and I've always said it both ways. I mean, it's not a word that comes up in conversation too much. Fucking, it's not like you're sitting there getting drunk or like, oh, let's talk about fucking Pluto and shit like that. But like, I've always known that it's really Uranus, and we just lazy Americans call it Uranus because it's fucking much more hilarious to call it Uranus than.
I don't think it is Uranus.
You don't think so?
No, I think that's a Latin root word, and we pronounce anus anus. So why wouldn't we pronounce Uranus with Uranus? It's not like we.
I don't know. You spell read and red the exact same fucking way.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, you got a point there.
So the English language is not one to be saying this is the way we do things.
Yeah, you can't get very sanctimonious about the English language like you can with Spanish. I'm sitting here trying to pronounce a Spanish word. Like, how do you pronounce it? Like, you just pronounce every vowel.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean,
In Spanish you don't break the rules that often, but
yeah,
like in English, I before E except fucking all kinds of fucking times.
People get mad at Americans because we can only speak one language, but it's a hard language, so we should get a little credit.
It is a fucking retarded fucking language, man. There's a lot of shit that just doesn't make sense in the English language.
Yeah, lead, led, read, read, conjugating lie, lying, lied, lay.
So it's Uranus. So it's Uranus.
That's why we have Grammarly, which is the new sponsor of the website. Grammarly, no, I'm just kidding. Those commercials make me mad. They make me mad because I'm like, come on, you can do better than that. So, and they've got all these people who are supposedly professionals who can't use the right spelling of your. Come on. So speaking of come on, man.
Come on.
What do you think? What is your prediction of what's going to happen with Joe Biden in the next 100 days?
Oh, dude. There goes the ATF again. I don't know. Oh my God. It's so fucking hard to say. Mostly because I don't want to be wrong. But
I mean, there's no chance we're going to be right. It's gotten so crazy. How could you possibly expect to be right?
Now I'm convinced that there's no way he can win. I'm just convinced that there's just absolutely no way that he can win, only because there's enough grassroots. I know the mainstream media is not covering this stuff, but I've seen enough grassroots within the Democrats that are like, yeah, we hate Trump, but this fucking dude is not the guy.
Yeah.
Like had they thrown anybody else in there, Trump would have probably lost. But you enter this guy who's like Mexicans are better than black people. I bet you
were excited to hear that.
I wasn't excited.
I'm just kidding.
I was like, man, I kind of like the recognition, but at the same time, like this is a really fucking fucked up, twisted way of getting that recognition. So he essentially says Mexicans are better than black people. He says if you don't vote for him, you're not black. He talks about little black kids rubbing his fucking legs.
Hey, corn pop. I still don't understand that reference.
Like
and I don't know why it's okay for him to talk about a bunch of little kids rubbing his legs.
Like it's just that, and then you see his fucking videos, and it's just like I to be honest with you, I had never seen his videos before. Like never. I had never seen him speak. I had never seen him say anything until this year, because he's the front guy. He's just right there. I don't give a shit about politicians that much to really be like focused in. Like if you talk to me about Pelosi, oh, you hear what Pelosi say? Like I'll probably hear a sound bite, but I'm never going to sit there and watch a whole interview of fucking Pelosi because I don't give a fuck about her. She doesn't affect my life directly that much. But he's fucking dumb, dude. Like there's just no way there's not something wrong with him mentally.
Do you know he's had open skull surgery on his brain
You could
twice?
You could tell.
Yeah. In fact, you can tell. I was listening to a doctor talking about one of the most common side effects of that surgery is the risk of strokes.
No, like with this fool, you could tell that like it all makes sense. Like he's had his fucking skull open twice. I didn't know that shit about that.
Yeah, they
Like,
basically just poured motor oil in there, I think.
it makes sense. Fucking not enough fucking W's in that fucking. They used too thick of a fucking oil.
Yeah.
Viscosity was not the correct viscosity.
Man, I run on 5-weight. Don't you know that? So I mean, not when after Trump won the election, I made a bet with somebody that Hillary would go to jail, and I lost that bet. That was a stupid bet.
Quick.
But I knew that 2020 was going to be a very interesting election season. I was expecting a lot of political shenanigans. I was not expecting the apocalypse.
Yeah. Hey, Joel, he stole that from somebody.
TTT.
Du-du-du.
Oh. I was not expecting the apocalypse. I was not expecting. I mean, I really have a strong suspicion that the Democrat Party would be just as happy to see the entire country in flames if it got Trump out of office.
Yeah.
Like they're totally okay with the destruction of the country as long as they think it'll get him out of office.
Yeah,
So
and I think Biden, like, because they're not going to have any debates, right?
Well, they keep saying that they are, but there is no way in hell they're going to put Biden on a stage with Trump. That is not happening.
Because here's where I'm at. If people hate Trump so much that, in my opinion, obviously, if they do debate, I think he gets in front of a camera enough to where people are reminded that they fucking hate the guy, regardless of what he says. If they don't debate, I think he has a better chance of winning the election by not debating, because then people forget. It's the whole out of sight, out of mind type situation where you forget that he the fucking orange dude is in office, because you don't hear him, because he says a lot of stupid retarded shit, not as much as Biden. His is calculated and his is on purpose. Biden is crazy.
Yeah, he number one, he doesn't talk like a politician talks. Politicians are very guarded in how they talk,
Correct.
so it's very hard to get them in a
Correct.
gotcha like, oh, you said this. I was like, no, I didn't actually say that. And Trump doesn't communicate that way. He communicates as a businessman, which a lot of it is bluffing and grandstanding and trying to keep your opponent off his guard. And I'm not saying he's good at it. I'm not saying he's bad at it, but his communication style definitely opens him up to ridicule on a regular basis. Not only that, but he's a New Yorker. If you watch Cuomo, which Cuomo is it that's the governor of New York? Andrew? Or Andrew's the CNN guy, right?
Yeah,
Who's the other Cuomo?
his brother.
I kept saying homo. Cuomo. Cuomo, governor. Chris Cuomo.
No,
Okay.
Andrew's the governor and Chris Cuomo is the CNN.
Oh, okay. If you listen to Andrew Cuomo in press conferences, he sounds like Trump. They're both from Queens. They're both about the same age. They both grew up doing the same thing with the same people. They have the same communication style. Cuomo interrupts his own sentences. Cuomo does not complete his thoughts all the time.
Right.
He grandstands. He says obvious exaggerations while he's talking. Cuomo and Trump are cut from the same cloth. But Trump is the president and Cuomo's just a governor, and everybody likes Cuomo, even though he killed all those senior citizens. And so nobody picks on Cuomo, but it's not hard to pick on Trump while he's talking.
No.
On the flip side, though, he can get a crowd going. Like, he knows how to talk to crowds. even if you don't always understand what he's saying, you're just like sitting there like, man, this guy knows how to get people pumped up. I watched Biden's rally he did in Delaware where he forgot where he was, and this is how he ended his own campaign rally for president. That's my time. I'll get out of your hair. Thanks. He just wanders off the stage. Like, you can't put those two people on the same stage together. Even if Biden had all of his faculties with him, Trump is going to outclass him, I think. And I think that they have just as much to lose with putting him up there as they do with not putting him up there.
Yeah.
I also don't know for sure. I think that Biden might get replaced before the election.
You think so?
I don't know. I mean, I think Biden can't win in a fair election. But I don't think this election's going to be fair.
At all.
I think it's going to be probably one of the most corrupt elections in the history of our country.
Correct.
On both sides. I think both sides are going to be looking to manipulate the vote. I would love to see Biden boxing Trump. I'd love to see him walk up to him. Hey, man, come on, man. Put up your dukes. I'll take you outside and beat your horse to death with you.
So, and they've said that they've talked about fighting, and the idea that these individuals would even fight each other is fucking retarded, because ain't they both fucking draft dodgers?
Yeah, probably.
I
I have to believe that Trump has slapped the shit out of at least one person in his life.
You think so?
I gotta think so. I mean, as big as he is, and as much of a bully as he is, maybe not. I don't know. I could see him doing it.
Yeah, probably his younger self.
Yeah.
But like not like flat out fucking fighting.
No.
No, his fucking bone spurs or whatever the fuck he's got going on. He couldn't plant his feet properly, and
when you're talking about that ramp he was on?
No, ain't that why he didn't go to the fucking? Isn't that why he dodged the draft?
Oh, I don't know. I never looked at that.
Yeah, I thought it was bone spurs.
Bone spurs. That's a good one.
And then Biden was for asthma, right? Let's see. Biden draft dodge.
So
due to the deferment, he was accused of draft dodge. Oh, he was deferred.
Oh, well, that's what they just deferred it until the war was over. That's
correct. So, but why was he deferred?
So I want to make a point about something that Miguel said in the chat room. It says someone hated so much that he got shot outside the White House while Trump had a press conference. Bunker Boy had to flee and come back. Trump may or may not have the balls to stick around when somebody's shooting at him, but under rare circumstances, the president can tell the Secret Service he's not going to do what they say, but I'm pretty sure that the president has to listen to the Secret Service almost all the time.
Well, that's why they can't drive. They can't. Obama didn't drive.
Yeah. So if they say, sir, we need to go to the bunker, unless he has a really, really, really good reason not to, he's got to go to the bunker.
He's got to go to the bunker.
And when an angry mob is surrounding the White House, they're going to take him down to the bunker.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he was giving a press conference today. Like, that's not important. That's not a vital issue for him to be dealing with, that he can't disappear and go down to the bunker. I don't know if you've ever been to the White House, but
never.
It's not the most fortified position in the world. Like, there was a guy back in the 90s who pulled out an Uzi and just lit up the side of the White House from the sidewalk.
Well, even strategically speaking, like if you think about war, like whose fucking genius idea was like, oh yeah, let's just put this right next to the fucking ocean.
A swamp.
Like let's just put this shit right here as motherfuckers come in.
Yeah.
Like it just, whose fucking retarded idea was that? Like they should just kept that bitch in fucking Pennsylvania, and just left that bitch there. These motherfuckers, Let's put that shit right here in the middle.
I might
Fuck.
be wrong about this, but I think that they was it an AK, Miguel? I thought it was an Uzi, but maybe it was an AK. I think that they put the Capitol in the swamp because they wanted the governing body to not be comfortable where they are. Like they're like, we can't let this turn into like
A cushy job.
a cushy job. So let's put it in a swamp. And
they didn't consider AC back then. Yeah.
so they didn't actually move it to Washington until after Jefferson.
Because even in New York, it was like fucking Pam right there.
Yeah. When did DC become the capital? I think it was in 18. Oh, it was 1790. So it was only 3 years after the first.
It was in New York before that, right?
I thought it was just Philly, and then it was DC.
New York, original capital. Nope.
Yeah, it's that's something I'd actually be interested to know, read some more about. Speaking of reading more about, I'm going to start reading some more anarchist literature
You should.
because I feel like I'm woefully uneducated when it comes to basically the fundamentalist anarchists.
New York City was the first capital of the United States once the Constitution was ratified. George Washington took the oath of office and became the first president of the United States from the balcony of the old City Hall.
Oh, how about that?
Yep.
I did not know that. Philadelphia was probably tainted too much by Benjamin Franklin and his
Yeah, that's syphilis.
his penis waving. I read somewhere that he liked to stand in front of open windows naked and get some air.
Get that schlong out. He was the fucking Ron Jeremy of the fucking.
Actually, they kind of look alike. So,
They do, dude.
yeah. So
If you're gonna read, if you're gonna get into the anarchy shit, Puerto Rican Pistolero, on Instagram,
mhm.
he just did a whole thing about it. He was talking about Catalonia, and their successful, there's very successful anarchy government until their fucking anarchism got in the way in sense of like the non-aggression principle is a motherfucker. Because
Mhm.
it's just like, we don't need to fucking, we're just gonna leave people alone. And then here comes Spain. They're like, nah, we want to put my dick in your pussy. And then Catalonia is like, no, but we're cool, we're chill. Like we got it all figured out.
Yes, they don't have what Switzerland has. They don't
Correct.
have a corrupt banking system that everybody participates in.
Correct.
They're just like, nah, leave us alone, bro. And everybody's like, nah, we're not leaving you alone.
We're not gonna leave you alone.
You have no leverage.
So he did a I guess he read up a little bit about anarchy and anarchist societies, and he read that Catalonia, which is interesting. That's kind of where my lineage comes from. That's where my last name comes from, anyways. Catalonia. They were the most successful anarchist.
How about that? Is there a connection there? Is it in your blood? Is it in your sangre? Is it sangre? How do you say blood?
Sangre.
Sangre, not E-A. So let's kind of play that out. If you are following the anarchist principles and you've sort of agreed to form your society around that, how are you going to stop a bigger, larger, more powerful country that is willing to break their own rules to attack you? How are you going to stop that?
You know, I think it's, if it ever happened again, I think you just have to get to the point where it's just like peaceful doesn't mean not being willing to fuck some shit up. And I think a lot of people on the non-aggression principle have understood that because of that. So I think if it ever happened again, Francisco Martin Duran, is an American criminal who is mostly known for his actions October 29, when he fired 29 rounds from an SKS rifle at the White House.
Oh, it was an SKS. Ah.
I just had to look that shit up.
You looked it up. Okay.
Yeah, I just had to look it up. But so I think if it ever happened again, it's just like there's no justification of not being prepared. But at the same time, you don't necessarily have to be the aggressor. You can remain neutral.
I think the point is not. Well, I don't know what Catalonia's story is at all, so I'm just talking from ignorance here. But the point isn't, to me, whether you're ready for it or you're not. The point is are you powerful enough to resist a corrupt larger state? Now, a lot of non-anarchist states fall all the time to larger, more powerful countries. But the question, I guess, is does an anarchist state weaken you even more? Because you take a place like Switzerland, which is completely neutral, has managed to stay out of the two largest conflicts in the history of the planet, but they do it in part through a corrupt banking system.
Correct. I don't think anarchy, first of all, I don't think anarchy or any utopian, quote unquote, utopian government styles is meant to be at a large scale. I don't think anarchy works at a state level. I think it works at a city level. I think it works at a region level, but I don't think ultimately it could function properly at a state level or even at a federal level. It's just like communism and socialism is pretty amazing at a 1 or 2 household level or just at a very scale.
Sharing resources and agreeing to work together works really well. Communism devalues human life.
Fair enough. Yeah. So I guess socialism.
Yeah, maybe socialism.
Correct.
That might be even stretching it, but I'll allow it.
It's the spirit of socialism,
right?
Yeah. So, like, it just doesn't work at a grand scale. It just doesn't work at all. And that's one of the things that a lot of people that are anarchists can't come to terms with, and a lot of people who are not anarchists don't understand. It's just like you can have Catalonia, and you can have it be anarchist, and you can stay the fuck out of there and don't go in there. And then people in Catalonia need to understand, you know what, this is about as big as it can get. We can't continue stretching it into Madrid because it's not going to work.
So that's the whole point of the Constitutional Convention, was to take the principles of Western society, the sovereignty of the individual, the suspicion of the government, the idea that, we have to work together for our mutual defense, and try to distill all that down into a workable system that would allow the country to operate somewhat autonomously, but also be there for each other when we needed each other.
Yeah.
And you could argue that worked for 200 years. But
until the feds wanted to fucking put their dick in everything.
Well, yeah, until basically the turn of the 20th century, when we started to realize if we're going to get ahead, we're going to have to start branching out, and we're going to have to look elsewhere. We've exhausted our own colonial interests within the borders of this continent. So how do we go further than that? How do we get our hands into further down, South America? How do we get our hands into Europe?
How do we invade without looking like we invade?
Yeah, let's send a bunch of our citizens up for sacrifice, and then that'll be our pretext.
Hey, buddy, we'll just establish a base here.
Yeah, it's just a base.
It's just a base.
So I think that the fundamental problem within any society is corruption. Corruption is the fundamental death of any society. If you take out corruption, though, I think that the idea of a government based on Western principles, basically the individual is sovereign, has rights that the government can't take away from them, And we all exist for the mutual benefit of our society, but we place the individual at the top, not the collective good.
Yeah.
I think ultimately that's our best shot, but any system is going to be prone to corruption and failure at some point, which is what we're seeing now. We can't handle these problems because the system's become so corrupt that we cannot work our way out of these issues.
It's become bigger than what it's supposed to handle.
Mm-hmm.
Like we got away with it for a very long time because we were good at the Stockholm syndrome shit. But I think the Stockholm syndrome thing has kind of run its course. So now you got a lot of people who shook off the Stockholm syndrome, and governments are quickly realizing at every level that their little system is just outgrew itself. It's just that's not the way it can run anymore.
Well, you take a place like Chicago, or you take a place like New York City, any of these large metropolis areas, and they have been corrupt for a very, very long time. But corruption's kind of weird in that as long as things are growing, corruption kind of can exist in the background without too much detriment. As long as everybody's making money and as long as the trend is going upwards, you can hide corruption. And you can say, no, we're doing fine. Everybody's happy, even though there's been a record of abuse of the poor in Chicago for hundreds of years. But as soon as things start to falter, man, it can fall apart so fast. It doesn't have anything to fall back on. It has no integrity to fall back on. It has no fail safes. It's every man for himself and in the worst way possible. And so I think that's why you're seeing these major cities not being able to stand up to the sustained threat of both COVID and these riots.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to point fingers. Everybody's making money off something illegal. Everybody is, trying to manipulate the situation. Nobody's just standing up and say, hey, it's not okay for this to be going on and we need to stop it. Or, and I mean that from all perspectives. I mean, it's not okay for the police department to act this way. It's not okay for the citizens to act this way. Nobody's got any moral standing. It's all, everybody knows everyone's full of shit.
Correct.
And so that's why you're looking at the cops and you're like, yeah, they can't do anything because their leadership is completely corrupt. The cops themselves may or may not be corrupt. And the citizens know that at this point. Everybody knows that there's a problem with the police. Well, I shouldn't say everybody. There are the diehard police fans, but
bootlickers.
I've been spending a lot of time on AR15.com just to get a read on people. And there's more and more people who are like, yeah, these cops are not defensible.
Correct.
And there's definitely the diehard crowd, but when police actions are discussed, it's moving more towards the middle,
which is a pretty comfortable place to be everywhere, because it keeps you objective. I don't know. I didn't talk about it in the podcast because we haven't had a podcast in like 10 weeks. And maybe I did talk about it. Maybe I did. Maybe I didn't. But either way, there was this lady. Her husband is a deputy for Boulder. So she was in the class, and I already knew. Once people tell me, "Oh, my significant other or dad or brother or whatever is a cop at so and so department," I already know when we talk about the laws, it's going to be an interesting conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously the climate right now is fuck the police. So I did my spiel, like you do whatever the fuck you want, but legally you don't have to tell the cops anything other than who you are in the state of Colorado. And even I've learned that it's kind of questionable, but if you just leave it oversimplified, that's the only thing you have to provide is who you are. Nothing beyond that, not date of birth, not any of that stuff. So a lot of people started chiming in. They asked me for my opinion. And then this lady was compelled to tell her little spiel. My husband is a cop and you don't know who they're coming up against. It could be a criminal. It could be whatever. All they want to do is go home. To which I reply, well, isn't that ironic that I feel the exact same way about your husband?
I bet you got some chuckles in the classroom on that one.
I got claps. I essentially got a standing ovation. Because that's just the reality, and it's just like we have to have that conversation, not just about cops, but we have to have it about government. We have to have it in our lives, as we have to be objective, like, because we're looking at the same issue. Like, your husband comes up to me, treats me like a criminal. If you say not all cops are the same, then your husband needs to understand, or the cop needs to understand, that not all people are criminals.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, statistically speaking, like 99% of us that you pull over, we're not going to have any issues. So don't treat me like the 1% that want to harm you or anything like that.
Yeah, and it takes a huge amount of self-control to carry that out.
Correct. So,
you got to be hiring the top tier, not the bottom tier.
Correct. And you have to really hire people who are just, it's not just intellect. It's you need emotional discipline.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you seriously need emotional discipline. This is why you can't hire cops that are prone to domestic violence and shit like that, because these people clearly do not have any emotional control. Like, people who are abusive and shit like that don't have any emotional control. Like, they don't have any emotional discipline. So anything that pisses them off is going to take them to the next level. And it's not just intellect. I can deal without a little bit of logic, as long as they've got the emotional control to kind of bring it down and then assess a circumstance. But a lot of these people, they don't have it. They just don't have it. It's all emotion driven on both sides. And that's not a good way to operate, dude.
No, and I think it's getting worse. I think that people are being conditioned now to lose their cool over everything.
Everything, dude.
And
and people excuse it. I see this shit all the time. It's like, well, what are they supposed to do? Like, well, fucking take a breath. Like, I don't know. Like, can scribble on a notepad, not instigate the shit. Those videos, audit the audit. There's plenty of times when I stop watching the video, I'm like, the dude filming it was the fucking asshole.
Yeah.
Like the dude filming it was a dick. Like, there was one, he goes into a building and the code inspector doesn't want to be on camera. Now, this is just a code inspector. It's not a cop. It's not anything. And he's like, identify yourself to me. And the dude's like, no, I'd rather not. Oh, well, why, you're a government employee, you must identify yourself to me.
What?
Yeah. No, like demanding. Like, it's not even like, oh, hey, what's your name? Like, how's it going? Like, you must identify. This is a code enforcer. It's not a cop. It's not doesn't have a badge number. He's just fucking there to make sure your weeds don't fucking get too out of hand. And then the dude fucking walks out. He's like, what a prick. Like, no, dude, you were the dick. Like you were the fucking asshole. You're pissed off at the cops that are questioning you, and then you're fucking projecting that onto somebody else who just, maybe they don't want to work and they don't want to be on camera. Like, it's just whatever. We've been in a government facility.
Yeah. That's actually nerve-wracking. Having worked for the government, I was hesitant to tell people I worked for the government while I worked for the government, because I felt like it just puts this spotlight on you. Like, oh, you're the problem. Yes, I am the problem. Whatever your problem is, it's me. I am responsible for everything wrong in your life.
I had some DDS people come to the class.
Oh, you did recently?
Yeah.
Were they people that we both know?
No, they were relatively new, but they told me that's where they heard about it. It was from DDS.
Ah, you know what that means?
What's that?
You still have friends. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Richard, working for the government. Tell me about it. Exactly. I won't disclose who you work for, but it's a very secret organization.
Very secret services.
So there has been this trend of displaying for the whole world. What's that?
You just whistled? There's this
I have a gap somewhere in my teeth that makes me whistle like
every once in a while.
the rabbit from Winnie the Pooh. And oh no, not the rabbit, the groundhog or whatever it is.
Uh-huh.
Shay. I can't do it when I want to. It doesn't
Yeah.
work. Have you watched these Karen videos? Like, oh, look at this Karen doing this. Look at this Karen doing that. And we've made a circus out of people who are losing their cool, but it's become a form of entertainment now.
Yeah.
And you have to be careful about this stuff because I think that what we mock as stupid and silly entertainment does become part of our behavior pattern.
Correct.
And like, this is me sounding like a boomer here, like, oh, you got to be careful what you watch on TV or it'll affect you. It's like, yeah, well,
You said boomer, so I have to play this. Go ahead.
go ahead, play it.
Oh, it's gonna take me a while.
Oh, okay. It is true. You got to be careful about what you put in your head. You got to be careful about what you dwell, how you spend your time. And it's not to say you can't ever expose yourself to stuff, but we are becoming very sick as a society, and we're celebrating it. And it's. I was watching some music videos from back in the day, and
Here you go.
all right, play it.
Just for you. I fucking hate this song, but it.
Whatever you say, boomer. Okay, boomer. Yeah, boomer. Whatever you say, boomer. Okay, boomer. Yeah, boomer. Whatever you say, boomer. Okay, boomer.
I think you would appreciate the video more though.
I am definitely a boomer.
Whatever you say, boomer. Okay, boomer. Yeah, boomer. Whatever you say, boomer. Okay, boomer. Yeah, boomer. Whatever you say, boomer. Okay, boomer.
Words cannot describe how much I hate that. Which makes me a boomer.
You are a boomer.
Whatever I hate TikTok. I hate that format of video. I hate how like
I still hate IG because they won't let you fucking record in landscape mode, dude. Like it's the stupidest fucking thing ever to be a video fucking platform or a media platform and you don't allow fucking landscape. It's retarded.
so
We digress.
when you watch a video like that, you're like, oh, that's an attractive female. Oh, I like watching attractive females. But
It's a dude.
when I watch TikTok, it could be at this
No,
point.
it's not.
When I watch TikTok, I know I'm being manipulated. Like I kind of have a feeling I'm being manipulated when I see things on
by the
Instagram.
Chinese?
Yes. And it's so insanely popular. People are losing their minds at the prospect of being kicked off TikTok
No.
or having Trump
No.
take their TikTok away.
Here's the thing though. We had Vine, and that was the thing. Had Vine not gone away, nobody would fucking be dealing with TikTok because Vine was basically the same thing. Now Instagram has done the Reels and basically just bootlegged TikTok.
Mhm.
So I don't think I think if it goes away, like I don't think it's popular enough
So
with
I didn't
human beings to stay.
I didn't get into Vine. All I saw from Vine, all I remember seeing from Vine was like they were really short clips and people would try to make like a really, really short comedic sketch out of it.
Correct. And that's
And
basically
they were funny. Like a lot of them were very funny.
Yeah.
And I would sit there and watch them like, man, this is funny. I should get Vine. I'm like, no. Don't get on there. Don't like I didn't do Snapchat, I didn't do Vine, I didn't do TikTok. So when you get on YouTube and you get in like a YouTube rabbit hole where you're doing you're watching a video of like how do bridges work, and all of a sudden 2 hours later you're watching compilations of the funniest fails of 2020. You know, you're being manipulated into this video format that is approximately 8 to 13 minutes long. That's going to keep your attention. That's going to keep you clicking. You're being controlled. And to some extent, I know that on YouTube, but you feel like the platform has enough other places where you can go. TikTok, I feel like, is mind control. I feel like TikTok is developed in a way that scrambles your brain immediately, and you're watching it and you're being hypnotized by TikTok. And I resent that to a huge degree. And I'm prone to it too. I'll sit there and be like, I like this. But I think TikTok is mind control. And I'm not going to feel sorry for saying that.
I think all social media is that. Now, what I do, I watch a lot of them, but I watch them on Instagram. So I'm kind of half cheating because I'm not on TikTok. Definitely on Snapchat because there's a few hoes that demanded some money. And I was all like, I shall oblige by giving you $20. Let me see that premium. But
you don't have to pay for that stuff, man.
you don't, but there's someone just like
that's the brainwashing though, man. That's
got to support. No, for me it's just like I got to support. Like you can't. I run an entity where we're offering it for free. It's kind of nice when they tip you. Ain't it nice when the students
it is the value for value model.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're gonna show a little so I do appreciate, like, these are all comedic sketches. So the caption is my dad thinking he was gonna have a boy. And then try number 1, try number 2, try number 3, try number 4, and then try number 5. So there's definitely a lot of comedic value on the TikTok stuff. But you do have to rummage through a lot of fucking bullshit, dude.
Yeah.
A lot of bullshit. I got on Vine like a week before. And I made a video that actually went kind of viral on that bitch because I was like, I got on, and then the next clip was like, Vine is dead.
They're like, the Mexican found it. Shut it down.
Shut that shit down. Shut that shit down. And I think once it was done, it was like 100,000 views or some shit like that.
Dang, that's pretty good. That's pretty fantastic.
To fame on Vine.
I think that this is part of the problem why this social unrest has gotten out of hand, because you just have access to more aggravating material than you could possibly manage, and you can't help but get radicalized by it. If you go down one path or the other, you're going to start turning into a version of ISIS, you know? You're like either ready to go cut every liberal's head off and put it on a stick, or you're ready to blow up the entire system and replace it with some kind of weird Sharia law. That's a gross mischaracterization of what I was trying to say, but it's pretty close. But basically, I mean, people who spend their time on social media for political purposes are just being radicalized. And I have to watch it for myself. Like I have to be real careful about that because I can get real doomy and gloomy real quick.
Yeah.
And it's not healthy. It's definitely not healthy.
Correct.
But at the same time, I'm like, dude, if this whole society is going to fall apart, I don't want to be the last one to know about it. Like a little heads up would be good, you know? So it's hard to navigate, but my kids are asking for phones. I heard that one of your kids got his technology taken away for being a troll.
I don't think he was being a troll. I don't think that's the whole story.
No, I didn't get the whole story. I specifically was told I was not going to get the whole story.
Yeah, it's much more complex than that. It's it's much more complex than that.
This poor kid has like 18 phones, though. You had to take them all away?
Fucking all 18 of them. All 18 phones, his fucking computer.
Oh, man.
It just that's just kind of part of it. It's just it's I seen it. I seen it fuck up my oldest. Now, my oldest is not a bad kid. I give her a hard time because as a parent, shit, you're not my kid, and I fucking hold you to really strict standards and fucking so, and I essentially do the same to any group of individuals that I expect a lot of from. I'm gonna hold you to that stuff, and it seems like an attack when there's no accountability. That's one of the things that I found out is that people feel attacked when you're not prepared to accept the accountability. Like you think I'm attacking you if I say do this, do that, or the other, or get your shit together, or whatever. So I got to preface that with like my oldest is not a bad kid. I'm pretty demanding as a human being, not just as a parent, but as I am the. This is gonna sound douchey as shit, but I am the Michael Jordan of the group. I am that person that people, when I leave, are like, "What the fuck is his problem?" Like, holy shit, because I'm so like if we're gonna do something, let's fucking do it. Let's fucking do it 100%. Let's do it right. Let's do it here. And I think it's the same thing you have when you have any great team. When you have the Bulls can't be the Bulls if you don't have that one individual who's like, let's fucking get this shit done right. You have a lot of key players, and I think that's what I do with. Who is
LeBron playing for?
The Lakers.
The Cavs. Is this why it took them so long
to win
a championship?
He's not the guy.
Because he's not the guy. All he is a good basketball player.
He's just a good basketball player. Yeah,
he's a shill for the Chinese, is what he is. Sorry, kind of lost my temper there.
No, but I do think that he is a fantastic basketball player, but he is missing the Michael Jordan and the Kobe. Because Kobe and Michael Jordan, Kobe got 5 because he's not as good as Jordan to get 6. 6 fucking Jordan missed basically his second year, fucking took time off and still got 6 and still got numbers and all that shit. Kobe was able to do shit, 5 fucking championships, and a lot of people are like, well, it's not just about championships. Like, no, literally, that's all the fucking sport is. It's like, let's fucking win.
Who says that?
People
it's
that
all about championships.
People that want to defend LeBron James and shit.
Cleveland fans of people from Cleveland say that. It's not really about the championships.
Like, no, literally,
it's about the heart, man. It's about the heart.
So I say all that just to say it just I seen it and this is one of the things that I've told my entire family. I don't, and I started seeing this with my son, is just like it's the social media aspect of this. I don't care if you're on technology. I don't care if you watch YouTube videos. I don't care about that stuff. Once people start integrating, especially at such a young age, I mean, we see this as adults. I mean, with Reddit and shit like that, every time you fucking text me, I'm like, guess what I seen on Reddit? I'm like, fucking bitch, man. And I try not to go on, and people send me shit all the time, and I don't go on there on purpose, because it's not. I don't want to be a hypocrite about this stuff. Once you start allowing them to interact with other human beings online, not just friends, not just with people, but online, it is such a fucking killer, man. It is such a fucking killer. Rogan just posted a picture. And did you see that one?
No, I didn't.
I'm gonna post that up. He posted on his Instagram. Let me see. Joe Rogan, the hero. So if you go to Joe Rogan's page on his social medias, that's him.
Well,
this is Joe Rogan. That
what?
is Joe Rogan.
I can't read the small print, so read the caption.
It says, if you want to know how fucked we are and how bizarre filters are and how distorted young women's expectations of beauty are, I present you this picture. This is me. My 10-year-old daughter is laughing hysterically because she took a picture of my ugly chimp face making kissy lips and ran it through some satanic filter design. Some satanic filter designed to steal women's self-esteem through pure deception and fuckery. And this is the result. Protect yourself, my friend. The internet is trying to rob you of your happiness. And then if you watch the original picture, he posted the original picture. And of course, it's not going to pop up. No. Oh, there it goes. That's the original picture.
So, okay, we've seen filters. We've seen the old man face filter. We've seen the change your gender filter. That like the picture he posted versus the picture that the AI generated, it's not even close. They could have just taken any random picture of any young female and just said, "Here you go. Here's your picture."
Well, and that's exactly why I made the decision that I had to make. Is just like I don't. That's the scary part. I catch a lot of shit from people. I don't like doing the whole princess thing. I don't like it. I don't like telling my kid she's a princess. I don't like telling my girls they're a princess. It's not because I don't believe that internally. Like, to me, you are. But I don't want you to have this fucking delusional thought about who you are. And when you realize that this world is so fucked up and you're flawed, that you're so disappointed that you're not really a princess or whatever, like, it's just this weird dynamic of like, you got to value yourself, and you got to, but social media, TikTok, all that stuff, it's all fake shit. Like, it's just like, we know how it works. We use it to our advantage. We use it to if I post anything about me fucking being Mexican and supporting it, it's going to get 12 likes. If I post up a picture that says a meme that says, "Oh, fuck a liberal," it's going to get 13,000 shares, and it's going to fucking blow up. Like, that's just the way social media works. So you have to kind of play that fine line of manipulating it so that people pay attention with the fake shit, so that hopefully a good handful of core people are going to pay attention to the real shit. And
you think that the older millennials, because I think that's the group we're in, we're kind of on the edge of Gen X and older millennials. You think we're the last generation that has any kind of vaccination against this concept of self-value based online, like based on the internet? Because I started chatting in chat rooms when I was like 12, but that wasn't social media. You don't post pictures. You don't,
there's no filters. There's
no filters. There's no altered reality. All you are is just talking to strangers on the internet. And, when you're 12 years old, you're trying to pick up chicks, even though you're never going to meet these. It's like, oh, I get to talk to a girl. Oh, it's easy to talk to a girl here, so I'm going to talk to a girl here.
Yeah.
But really, your formative years were spent with your friends. Maybe you were doing sports, maybe you were doing other things where you were kind of developing your personality and your concept of the world in reality. And starting around 2000, starting in the late 90s, early 2000s was MySpace. It was like, you can develop an online personality. You can develop an online persona. Here's all the best things about me on MySpace. Here's all the cool music. Here's all the cool filters. Here's all my best pictures. And here's all my friends.
We're not going to censor you. You do say whatever the fuck you want.
Right.
So I say that because we need fucking MySpace back. No censor.
No censors.
No bullshit. I don't even remember ads on fucking MySpace.
Which is why it's not still around anymore.
Probably.
Yeah. They didn't figure out how to monetize the information.
But yeah, I mean, obviously there's something there. It's like internally, in my very small optimistic side wants to say that I hope we're not the last of the generations that can kind of just see beyond the bullshit. But then at the same time, I look at just my family alone, and I say this to my family a lot. and I know they hate me saying a lot of our shit on these podcasts, but it just I could only go off of my experiences. Just I say this a lot. Like, it's just when I'm in my family, there's a lot of times when I just feel like I'm alone
Mm-hmm.
because I'm so fucking different from them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the mom has to do what the mom has to do. The mom is always like, my kid's always right. That fucker can kill 13,000 people. You don't tell my kid anything.
No. That is not how my mom was.
Yeah. But your mom, was a different breed. Your mom was also a single mom for some time, and
Yeah.
I'm talking about like in most circumstances. You're talking about general.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm with you. Just
So
want people to know that my mom was not like that.
and on the off chance that she hears it, you want her.
Yeah. when I tell people my mom always had my back, what I mean is she always had my ass in view. Like, I can hit that from here. I can stick a paddle, a vacuum cleaner, whatever I need to. I can hit you from here
Your ass.
in public.
Yeah.
Not even just in private.
And now it's different. It's just so different, because even back then, when you had that dynamic of the dad was the disciplinarian and the mom was the nurturer and shit like that, it was still very, very different. Like, right now, everything is just like, everything's an attack. Like, when I talk to my kids, like, everything's an attack. Like, shut the fuck up, quit being a bunch of little bitches. And everyone's like, oh, like it just overly sensitive, because it's all fabricated, it's all fake, it's all.
Now, part of that could be just the fact that you're on the other side of the equation now. Could be that you are seeing it from your side and like, oh, I have two things, you only have one. I have the experience of being in your shoes, and now I have the experience of being in my shoes. And
Correct.
so whatever you say is automatically wrong, because I've been in both positions and now I know which one's right. And then so you see all the returning stuff coming back to you, like, I already know what you're going to say, and you're wrong.
Correct.
You know?
No,
But
but it's even far beyond that, though. It's just so. It's just not the same. It's just absolutely not the same. Everybody, even the most desensitized, are very sensitive.
Yeah.
Like, you see this in class with the 20-year-olds and the 18-year-olds. Like, even them, they'll tell you all like, oh, I hate the snowflakes, and then you start saying something, they're like, well, like, oh, I thought you hated snowflakes. Like,
Yeah. Quit getting your feelings hurt.
Yeah, exactly. But
Let me burn a flag right here in front of you, see how you feel about that.
let me kneel down for the fucking anthem really quick and see what's up, fool. And even them, it's just very sensitive, because they were brought up in a lot of fakery, a lot of bullshit, and a lot of shit that's just not real, and it's all created. So I don't, again, optimistically, I'd like to believe that there'll be another generation that understands it, but like we're already I think past that point. I think that ship has sailed. I don't think it's. I mean, we were the last ones without internet, dude.
So I have no idea how this current generation is going to turn out, because not only are they different from me, but they're experiencing the world in a way that no other generation before them has experienced. And we've been on that trajectory for a while. Ever since the light bulb, we have been on a different trajectory, where things are changing at a pretty rapid pace. So boomers grew up in the 60s and 50s, 60s, and 70s, where telephones became present everywhere over time. And you had the birth of modern media, and that's different. And then the Gen Xers grew up with, kind of that dejected, like, we're not the favored generation anymore. We're kind of left to fend for ourselves. And at the same time, we've got cable news and huge amounts of money to be made, basically ripping people off. I'm overgeneralizing, but I'm saying There's been huge shifts. But we're at a point now where the shifts are coming from year to year.
Yeah, it's no longer a 7-year cycle. It's a fucking.
And so there's really no way to say how this is going to turn out. Maybe the technology will, in some backwards way, awaken people to things that we never knew and never understood. But I tell you, people are way more sensitive than they used to be. That is for sure. And I'm not convinced that that's a positive thing.
Well, because there is a difference between being empathetic and being sensitive.
Yes,
Like,
that's a good way to put it.
I could be empathetic about all kinds of shit. I could be empathetic about your situation. I could be empathetic about whatever, but the reality is I can't be overly sensitive about that stuff.
You can't internalize things that aren't yours to internalize.
Correct. So, and a lot of people are just they just want to be like, oh, you got to protect this, you got to protect that. Like, no, I can't. Like, it just, I may not. There's a perfect scene on. I don't know if you've gotten into Young Sheldon, which is
I cannot watch any of those shows, man. They drive me insane.
So
I'm not saying they're bad. I'm saying they drive me insane.
Yeah. Well, I overall, I even the shows that I do like, I'm like, I already know what the fuck you're gonna do. Like sitcoms are so overplayed. It's all the same fucking jokes over and over and over and over again. But anyways, there was this good scene where they were gonna ship off the kid because he's a fucking genius. They're gonna send him to Dallas to this private school, and the mom was crying, packing the bags, and the mom is in the position where she's just like, it's basically didn't make her feel good. So the daughter's like, if you're not gonna make me feel good, then get the fuck out. She's like, that's not my job. Like, I'm not here to make you feel good. I'm here to tell you the truth. And people, this has been true forever, but it's so much more true now. It's just people just want to feel good. They don't want the truth.
And here's what people forget about that. You learn how to feel good by accepting the truth.
Correct.
You don't just get to cheat your way to feeling good.
Correct.
And that's what you're doing when you are sacrificing the truth for people's feelings.
Yep.
You're trying to cheat your way to people feeling good. And I'm telling you, I'm saying this as a person who has done that his entire life, who has tried to make people feel good.
Yeah.
Not in the massage therapist kind of way, but doesn't like conflict, doesn't like telling people things they don't want to hear. And it's been a struggle of growth through my 30s, basically by being friends and business partners with you. Just understand, well, and being a parent, which is like, you can't cheat your way to feeling good. The only thing, the best thing you've got is to be able to live with the truth, and then like find the bright side.
Correct.
Find the good in it. Find the good in the truth. Here's the truth. I can't help you.
and I've got two options with the truth. I was talking about this on. I was on the Sodini podcast.
You were?
Yeah. The.
Oh shit! Let's plug that real quick.
Yeah, well, it's the Walk the Talk America podcast. So it's not his podcast, his personal one. It's the Walk the Talk America podcast.
Walk the Talk America podcast. Go look it up.
Yeah, it hasn't come out yet. They pre-record theirs and then they set them out. But this was last Monday that we recorded it, and this kind of topic kind of came up about the truth, about these truths, and how I deal with mental health and shit like that. And my reply to that is just I've had to learn that I've got two options with this shit: is accept it or change it. That's it. Those are my only two options with that shit.
Yeah.
Like I am a fat individual. I am at a weight that I'm starting to get disgusted with. I was on a good path. I was starting to really lose weight and not like in like I wasn't doing a whole lot, but I was getting healthier, not necessarily losing weight. I was getting healthier, and then it kind of stopped, and you get back at a point where it's just like, okay, I hate when my body tells me the truth. My body tells me the truth that, hey, you're not healthy anymore. And it tells me certain ways, heartburn and not being able to sleep properly and all kinds of different ways it lets me know. So I have an option with that truth. I can accept it or I can change it. That's all you've got. Like that's
Mhm.
all you've got. So when you hear somebody giving you the truth, like if it is 100% the truth and it's not malicious, if it's with good intentions, if somebody calls me fat, like it's just like I can't get mad at that. Like I got two options with that shit: either lose fucking weight or accept the fact that I'm fat and then just deal with it and then just be okay with it. Like those are seriously it. When somebody approaches you and gives you your fucking truth, it's just like you just got those two options and that's it. You being sensitive little bitch about it isn't gonna fucking change a goddamn thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't benefit you. It doesn't benefit your intelligence. It doesn't benefit your mental health. It doesn't benefit your emotions. All it does is it makes you a bigger little bitch.
A bigger little bitch.
A bigger.
And that's the truth, folks, right there. Sometimes the truth doesn't make sense.
It doesn't.
That's okay.
That's okay.
Yeah, and I think fundamentally that's what's irritating me so much about what's going on right now is I'm not seeing any truth anywhere. You know, like that's why I when in the last podcast I played that clip from Lil Wayne where they were trying to get him to say whether he agreed with Black Lives Matter or not. And you know, he's like, "Oh, I know my life matters." I'm like,
Yeah.
that's true. That's true right
Correct.
there. That and I got excited because it was like one of the very few times where in the last 6 months where I felt like somebody, and that clip wasn't even from the last 6 months, but it's relevant to what's going on right now.
Correct.
I was like, finally somebody said something that's true.
Correct.
Like he's not playing games. He's not trying to win points. He's not trying to manipulate the situation. He's answering the question. Do Black Lives Matter? My life matters. Like
Correct.
and so I mean I heard from Koyan Noir and I heard from a couple other people who are like, you know, I believe Black Lives Matter. I don't agree with the organization Black Lives Matter. It's like, all right, well, you know, that's true. That makes sense, but that doesn't come with the force. That doesn't come with the authority of saying like, no, I'm not playing your stupid little game here. I know that my life matters. You're not going to trick me into trying to say something else.
Correct.
And that's one of the things I like about people like Lil Wayne, even though he kisses Birdman on the lips, which I can't even believe is true, but that's true too, man. You got to accept it. You're not changing it.
You're not gonna change that shit. You can't change it. There's some things you just cannot change.
Yeah. So
That's funny.
I think that's an ethos that I've been developing without really realizing it over the last I would say decade, which is like, you know, at some point you have to understand that as many lies as you want to tell yourself and everybody else around you doesn't actually make anything better. You know, and it's you've got to accept your situation, because if you don't accept it, that's the foundation of mental illness. And I'm not saying that it's your fault or it's not your fault, but fundamentally mental illness can be defined as the inability to accept reality.
Correct.
And a lot of people, that's not up to them. It's not up to them. I mean, their brains just don't work, and you know, but it is true that you're not interacting with reality in a way that's productive for you. It's not healthy for you. So
Yeah.
Mexican lives matter. That is also true. That's a fundamental truth, because without Mexicans, we would not have tacos.
Tacos are delicious.
So I have to ask you this, because I forgot to ask you when we
Yes.
had lunch with Akil, but what did you think of Tlaquepaque?
I mean, what the fuck did I have?
You did not have lingua because they did not have lingua.
I didn't have lengua. Oh, but I had tripa. Yeah, it was good. It wasn't amazing. It's not
Did
top
we get like a B minus?
No, I'd give it a B.
A B?
No minus.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
a little above average, but not a top 10.
So usually when I'm hungry, I'll get 6 tacos when I'm there. And when I finish the 6 tacos, I'm still hungry because they're so tasty. But yeah, I wanted to get your evaluation. And then I also had to ask you, what the hell you fed me at Santiago's because you hate that place. And I ate the food off the plate, and that did not taste like anything I've ever eaten before. What was I eating at Santiago's?
It was a smothered burrito, smothered chile relleno.
It wasn't lingua?
No, they don't have
Oh.
lengua there because Santiago's is not Mexican.
Man, something tasted weird.
Yeah,
Yeah. Maybe it was just, I don't know.
probably the beans or the lettuce. I don't know, dude.
No, it was the tortilla. It was something about the tortilla made me think I wasn't eating a tortilla. I was eating something.
Oh,
else.
I didn't even touch that, so I couldn't tell you. Might have been it.
Yeah, I'm surprised you stopped at Santiago's too. Like, if you're gonna be down there, you might as well just go to Taco Bell. I mean, I know
The same shit.
the same shit,
Same
cheaper
fucking-
too. Yeah.
fucking shit.
So, so Tlaquepaque is right between my house and the classroom. So I definitely like to
Yeah,
drop in
Colorado
there.
Springs.
Yeah, and they speak Spanish,
They do
but I
speak
guess
Spanish.
that's not that different than from Taco Bell. So I guess you can't use that as a
or any other place.
or any other place. Yeah, Panda Express. Wow, this is some legit Chinese food here. You can tell because everybody here speaks Spanish.
Mexican.
Actually, my sister, who is Asian, who's Korean, worked at Panda Express, and I think she was the only Asian that worked there.
Yeah, I believe it, dude. I
So,
believe
all right,
it's just hilarious.
I'm gonna pull up
Yeah.
something funny for the end of this. I was saving this. I was so excited about this. All right, so before I do this, we should talk about Ammo Land, and we don't have to get deep into it. Just kind of an update on where things are, because Ammo Land did a really good article on the issue that's going on with Sheriff Justin Smith in Larimer County. The guy actually listened to you and did some actual digging into the issues we're having with Larimer County.
Yeah.
And obviously it's going to be a little bit biased because it's, pro-gun and pro-gun rights, and we're going to see a little bit of bias here. But I think in general they did a pretty fair job of reporting the issue. And then you sent a press release to a bunch of news organizations, and who was it? CBS.
Oh my God, they did such a fucking atrocious job. So, anyways, we so the Ammo Land article came out June 14th, if I'm not mistaken. I think they did a really good job. His name is John Crump. John Crump, it was the reporter who did that, called me several times to get some information, to re-verify. So it wasn't just like, what you got to say type shit. It was just like, okay, I just need to get the facts straight. Called different times, which then he called Larimer County different times, and Larimer County didn't want to talk to him. And then we sent out a press release when we actually filed a lawsuit against Larimer County. So we are, as of right now, we are actually
In litigation.
litigation. We are now in litigation. So we sent out a press release, and most people ignored it because, well, it's not coronavirus, and it's not, although it is technically coronavirus related. But it's not a riot, and it's not people fighting over masks, so nobody's going to pay attention to it. Well, this one reporter on Channel 4 CBS here in the state of Colorado in Denver, he decided to pick it up, and he emailed me. He said, hey, thanks for this, but let me ask you which counties are the ones that accepted it. Also, the link to the Ammo Land article doesn't work, so I sent him the list of places, and I told him, those counties we're very thankful for, and blah blah blah. And here are screenshots of the Ammo Land article because maybe your firewalls are preventing you from going to a gun website. So sent him that, and then I seen the article the following day, and holy shit, when I sent him the stuff that said, here's the list. Now this works in our favor, but I just want to give you an idea of how atrocious this fucking article was written. I sent him the list of the, I think 5 or 6 counties that talked to us, and then they basically ignored at that point what Smith was saying about us. doing the right thing. Essentially, they were doing the right thing. That's the better way of saying it. They seen that it was illegal what Smith was doing, and then they followed the law. He quoted Smith as saying that. He quoted Justin Smith as saying, "These are the counties that ignored me." Basically, it's what it sounds like if you read the article. So it works in our favor, but that's what I said. That's not what Justin Smith said. And then he quoted you, but didn't introduce you, didn't say, "Hey, this is another person." Like, it just kind of went into it, and then it said Chase said, like, who the fuck is Chase? Like you never introduced Chase. You never.
I'm just some guy off Craigslist.
Like, it was such an atrocious fucking. I hit up one of my freelance reporter friends. I was like, how the fuck do you politely tell a reporter that he fucking sucks at his job? Like, for real, like, if you read it, it's like this fucker wrote it as he was taking a shit, and like his phone dropped, and he picked it back up and like was trying to finish writing. Like, it just such an atrocious fucking job. Not even a.
How did it get past an editor with obvious spelling errors? You know, like I think I've heard this from professionals, but editing staff has been pared down. So basically, reporters get most of their news off Twitter. Nobody fact checks their stories, and they just put it out there.
Dude, this was atrocious. Like, I am going to write another reporter tomorrow. I'll be like, hey, dude, you know, this one came out, but you must be better at this. Like,
dude, just send somebody out to the store. Let you talk, you know?
Dude, it's fucking crazy, man.
Yeah. And Justin Smith, by the way, lied to this reporter.
Again.
He said, I cannot say what Smith's motivations are. Oh, no, hold on. Let me.
It's further down when he says
down.
that I hate being challenged.
Yeah. So he said, there's no doubt he's slinging personal insults at me because I looked into it. For whatever reason, he does not like being challenged. Smith told CBS 4 that he and other sheriffs in Colorado communicated earlier this year about concerns with Guns for Everyone's recent procedures. At his prompting, an LCSO employee then signed up for Guns for Everyone class, underwent both an online and in-person training. Employee showed up at the business metro area facility, Smith said, stood in a warehouse for 15 minutes with other applicants, never had an ID checked, and then received a certificate signed by Antion that did not contain the applicant's name. Blah, 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 blah. Hold on. I want to get to the part where he lies. He's very demanding. This is Smith. We have to honor his certificates, and he does not have to answer any questions. What questions?
Questions.
Because we have not received any questions from Larimer County Sheriff's Office.
At all. In fact, I have right here. And I would screen share, but I'm not going to because it has sensitive email addresses that these people may or may not want you to have. So I'm not going to do it. So I have an email here dated May 7th, Thursday, May 7th. Now, Thursday, May 7th, they didn't send people to us until May 30th, if I'm not mistaken. That's when I think
that's when they said they sent somebody, May 30th.
Correct.
Because that's when they asked for the camera footage.
Correct. So on May 7th, I said, hey, I just heard from a student that you're not accepting our certificates because we're currently doing portion online at the moment due to government restrictions and the virus. We are following state law and still requiring students to attend in-person portion. And then I explained what the CRS was. And I told her we are not conducting the entire course online, only portion of it. Students must still show up to an in-person and participate in class. Attach our pictures from our recent setup. Mr. Antion, and then she replied, it was recently brought to our attention, to Sheriff Smith's attention from other sheriff's offices, which is not true, because they're the ones that wrote the thing. And the CSOC, that your courses are being offered online. As you know, Colorado does, which, by the way, they accept a fully 100% online Hunter's Ed program. So basically, it was me asking her, like, hey, what the fuck's going on? That was it. And then she said, hey, we're going to have your students fill out an affidavit under perjury of the law. And I said, well, that's not. And by the way, Brian our attorney was CC'd in these. And I told him, I will tell students about this. My concern now is that it adds requirements beyond those provided in CRS 1812 Part 2, which would be in violation of 1812-201, subsection 3. More specifically, where it states an action or rule that encumbers the permit process by placing burdens on the applicants beyond the source statements and specified documents detailed in Part 2, or creates restrictions beyond those specified as Part 2 is in conflict with the intent of Part 2 is prohibited. Clarification on where in the CR it is. It allows individual sheriff's office to require additional notarized documents, as well as single out companies and or instructors would be appreciated.
End
so
of communication.
Communication.
That is the last communication that you had with them directly.
Correct.
And any other communication that came from them was
Through our attorney.
through the attorney, and also very sparse, and no
Correct.
questions were asked. And
Correct.
I have to point this out because he also states that no ID was required for the certificate, which is also not Colorado law that we have to require ID. It is the sheriff's responsibility to verify the ID of the person presenting the certificate and applying for the permit. That is not our job. A lot of instructors will request or demand that you show them an ID in order to get your certificate, which is a needless step.
Correct.
And all it's designed to do is make people feel like this is some official process they're going through.
Correct.
It's completely unnecessary.
Correct. Especially when you have 80 students.
Now, let me say this. Somehow, Larimer County did get a hold of a certificate that has your signature on it and a blank student.
Well, it's not somehow. That's the cops that they sent into the class.
Right. So whatever happened there, it appears that,
So we explain that, and we explain that in depth when we tell them during the COVID-19 thing, the idea was not to spread the fucking virus. So I wasn't allowing people to use pens.
right.
So I would tell them, when you leave here, you have to write down your name.
Right. But
your name.
regardless if the certificate is blank or not, well, no, they do need to fill. They need to put their name on the certificate. But
Because this happened with Denver as well. And Denver, we called them up and they're like, no, it's just some idiot didn't put their name down.
yeah,
Because we thought it was a completely blank certificate. So we're like, what the fuck's going on? They're like, no, they just didn't put their name down. And we explained that to them. Well, here's what's going on. Because you say we don't want to spread the virus. So the whole nine, the whole shebang. So, and maybe it was a lapse in judgment on my part,
Yeah.
whatever.
it could have been. But it was a lapse in judgment made at a time where everybody was trying to figure out what to do. When the what is Dr. Fauci's official title?
A fucking fearmonger, I think.
Fauci official title. Okay, let me just write the.
Not a mask
Oh,
wearer.
National Institute of, what is it? NIAID. What is that? I don't even know what that is. What is the NA? Whatever. Admitted that he lied to the American people about wearing masks because he was trying to preserve masks for medical professionals.
Correct.
This is the kind of information we're working with. Okay. I still am enforcing no reusing pens in my classroom.
Yeah, like
Even though it doesn't make any sense, I'm still doing it. Like,
Correct.
we're all trying to figure things out right now.
and right now, I mean, we've talked about this. Like, I don't want to catch that shit. You don't want to catch the shit.
No, I do not want to catch that.
We don't want to catch that shit. So like, yeah, I still don't let people use pens. Like, when people are like, can I borrow a pen? Like, no, you got to borrow it from someone. But now I am making them write it beforehand, because yeah, there's a lot of stupid people out there that when you tell them fill out your name, they're just not going to fill out their name because they're fucking
Yeah.
retarded. But even so, like, that's on the student. That's not on us. Like, even then, it's just like they went through the process that they had to go through. Nowhere on there does it say how I have to issue the certificate, whether it's printed on inkjet or laser or anything. Like, it doesn't specify anywhere on there how I have to issue the certificate, other than I have to have my original signature on it.
Yeah. Okay. So I think that's a pretty good update. We don't have to beat that to death. It's kind of a segue into the what I wanted to end the show with. So I was cruising AmmoLand's website in order to find the article because I was too lazy to go look up the link you sent me, and it seemed like less work to go scroll through 3 pages of AmmoLand articles to get to the one that I needed. But while I was doing that, I came across the story about 3 people being injured in an accidental shooting at the NFAC Black Militia. I had heard about it, but I didn't actually read the story until I got to AmmoLand.
That Maj talked to the Grandmaster.
Oh, he talked to him?
Yeah, and a few other people talked to them too, and it came out with like, yeah, he's not a good leader. He's not a good.
Oh, you could, dude. Watching that guy for 30 seconds, you can tell that he's got crazy eyes.
He's setting the black community back. Luckily, everybody that is anybody was really quick to be like, nah, this motherfucker's full of shit.
Yeah. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't do their research, so he managed to put together a rally in Kentucky where somebody had an ND, and this ND, I want to know what kind of ammo this person was using, because this ND injured 3 people. Like, did 3 people get shot? Did a bullet travel through 3 people? I need to know what kind of ammo.
He had ball ammo, dude. Very, very likely.
Yeah.
Especially at close range.
So I'm reading about the story, and I'm like, that's simultaneously depressing and hilarious at the same time. So I scroll down to the comments, and I discover this gem. Now, I'm going to link to this in the show notes. You can go read this for yourself. But, sometimes you're reading comments. You're like, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. This guy's making things up. This blah, 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 blah. I have never in my life encountered a comment like this anywhere, ever, period. So this guy is posting under the screen name Commando, spelled with a K. And at first I thought that this was fake. I thought that this guy was making this up to be funny, to make a point or whatever. But there's too many details in here for this to not be true. Yeah. There's way too many details. People don't put this much detail into something that's not true.
Yeah.
So in excusing Grandmaster Jay's rally and negligent discharge, this guy Commando says something similar has happened to me a few times. Now, I'm going to raise my hand right now. I have had I've had 2 discharges that were not intentional, both with the same gun. Both were failures of the gun itself, mechanical failures of the gun. I've had 2 negligent discharges with non-lethal firearms, paintball guns, and BB guns that actually did hurt somebody. So I'm not preaching from a point of this has never happened to me before. But
75 NDs.
You got to listen to this. Something similar has happened to me a few times. Number 1, at friend's apartment in college, just bought my first pistol from a gun show. I was 18. Drinking with friends. Showed them my new Jericho. Try to manually decock. Thumb slips on hammer. ND into ceiling. Upstairs neighbors too high and drunk to call the police. Okay, it happens. Get drunk. You're 18, playing with a gun, shoot into the neighbor's apartment. It happens.
Normal shit.
Second time, at range, showing friend pistol. Think the gun is unloaded. Point at ground to show him how to rack and pull the trigger. Forgot loaded mag in. Shoot between his feet.
Whoa. He was racking and squeezing the trigger at the same time? Yeah. Why?
I don't know. Apparently this is a normal behavior though. So third time at parents' house, just bought a SIG from a guy. Get home, try swapping slides with another SIG I had. Forgot the other slide was chambered. How does that happen?
Yeah.
Pull trigger, shoot parents' wall. This guy, what is he living at home just racking up SIGs in his
No. How the fuck did the slide stay chambered?
I don't know. I've never taken a SIG down before, so I don't know how it works.
Well, what SIG? Because there's some SIGs that I guess so because the Bursa, the TPR9C, all you have to do to that one is just move the lever down. The easiest fucking takedown ever. Fucking move the lever down and it's fucking
so
done.
You don't have to pull the trigger? Okay. Fourth time. At my new house, playing with a friend's 5.56 AK, release bolt, slam fires into ground. No. Maybe you release the bolt with your finger on the trigger, holding the trigger down.
Correct.
5th time, showing a friend how to use his gun. No idea how, but a round got chambered. Show him how the trigger works. Pull trigger, shoots round into floor in the same place as before.
Oh.
6th time, thought maybe
Dude.
the house was haunted. I don't think I read this one before. He thought his house was haunted. Grab a cig, clear the house, clear the gun, rack the slide 3 times, no magazine in, pull trigger at the same hole, round goes off.
What?
7th time.
Wait. No. Hold on. We're not just gonna skip over that one. We're just not gonna skip over that one. What the fuck was he gonna do to the ghost? Like, if you can, like, I don't believe in ghosts, but let's just put ourselves in a position where there's ghosts supposedly in this world, and you encounter a fucking ghost that just went through the fucking wall, by the way.
But he's using rip rounds, so it's gonna work.
What?
7th time. Friend brings over used Glock, wants me to look it over. I grab it and pull the trigger without clearing it. Didn't even realize the thing was loaded.
Jesus.
I don't even know if I can read this.
Read it.
8th time. Friend brings over his transferable MAC-10. I have no idea how open gut bolt guns work.
Oh shit.
Shows it to me. I put a loaded mag in it, decided to try and press and release the bolt. Pulled the trigger for some reason, shot 3 rounds into my wall.
3 of them.
This last one is a machine gun.
Dude.
Overall, you shouldn't feel too bad about NDs. It's part of owning guns, and you should get used to them.
No big deal. He said it's not that big of a deal.
He fires a machine gun through his wall. Oh my god. Oh man.
The miracle is that apparently he never hurt anybody.
Well, that's the thing. Like somehow, and I'm not even going to say he had a safe direction, but it must have been a safe enough direction.
Correct.
He never actually hit anybody that he admits to, but he's admitted to a lot, so you'd think he would.
Dude, like, think of being his friend and be like, hey, I know a guy that can check out my gun. He's only had 7 NDs.
He's used to him. It's cool.
Like, think about that shit, dude.
I was reading that and I was like, is this for real? Oh man. So
That's insane, dude.
yeah, that cracked me up. Even now, I got tears coming down my face reading, because I honestly didn't read the ghost one before.
I'm still caught up in that one. Like, what the fuck were you gonna do to the ghost? Like, what were you like? Were you guys gonna make pottery together? Like, it's just like that's just hilarious, dude.
I give the guy credit. You know, he's got that learning attitude.
Yeah. Yeah, but what the fuck's he gonna learn?
God, I don't. How to admit your mistakes. I mean, there's so many examples on there of him making the same mistake, just not
Correct.
checking the chamber and just pulling the trigger.
Correct.
Which reminds me of the time I was trying to teach my mom how to disassemble her shotgun
Uh-huh.
to clean it, and I go, so how do we check if it's not loaded? And she goes, pull the trigger, and then she just pulled the trigger. I'm like, I freaked out on her. I was like, no, that's not how you do it. She goes, why not? It worked.
Correct. Fuck you, me. That's not how you do it.
This is why I won't teach her anymore. I leave other people to teach her. So,
Shit's hilarious.
all right. So you can find the show notes, including the link to that comment on AmmoLand at sayiwon't.live. I'm going to put it into the chat room the naysayer. No, wrong link. Shoot, man, why did I do that? Hold on, man. What have I done? I can't handle this technology, man. It's too much. It's too
It's
much for
technology.
me.
Let me delete it for you. Block user.
Oh, I did it again. Oh my god.
Hey, do it again.
There we go. I got it right this time.
I think I know where we're going here.
I can't be trusted.
Okay, I thought you were gonna do it 8 times.
8 times.
Ghost,
He did it again.
ghost.
Yes, you can check us out at sayIwon't.live for the show notes. We got links to all the relevant stuff. You can also help us produce the show. I'm gonna put that link in there as well. sayIwon't.live/donate. So we're gonna talk about this next time. I think people have heard this story, but I want to go into a little bit more detail of what's going on with Patreon, where people are suing Patreon for censorship. It's a pretty interesting story, but we'll cover it next time. But anyway, I definitely want to bring up the fact that people are retarded for not handling their own money and letting Patreon do that. I don't understand why you would do that, but yeah. So you can produce the show at sayIwon't.live/donate. You can help us do some good in the world, hopefully. Also, I would like to start soliciting album art for the shows instead of just using our regular logo, but I'm not sure how to do that yet. But anybody who can work Photoshop pretty quickly, which I'm sure there's one of you out there, I want to start doing that. I'm ripping that idea off of another podcast. It's not my idea, but it's a great idea, and I want to start doing it.
Let's do it.
What do you got?
I ain't got a motherfucking thing other than we're still here.
Rhetoric, all talk, no action.
I'll talk
If
no action.
you guys have not watched this documentary, it's linked in the show notes. How long is it? Hour 10 minutes?
Hour 6 minutes.
Hour and 6 minutes. So watch this documentary right before or right after you watch Tread on Netflix.
Tread.
Have you seen that yet? All right. Watch it.
Documentary?
Yeah, watch it before. It's about the Killdozer in Granby.
Oh, yeah. I've been looking for something good to watch, and everything on there's trash.
Wash your ass. Yeah, all the people who donate to the show get free ass washings. So everybody else, if you haven't donated, you are unwashed. By the way, I bought some new underwear. I'm going to have to burn all of it.
Burn it all.
It doesn't even last 24 hours before I start smelling like like an LA sewer. I don't know what's up with this underwear, but it's got to go.
It's hilarious.
All right, everybody. Thank you for listening. Thanks for hanging out. Sorry for the delay. We're going to get back to regular shows that aren't sporadic here immediately. That is going to happen. So
Are we going back to Fridays then?
if Mondays work, Mondays are good for me right now. I like Mondays.
Let's do Mondays then. That actually works out for me maybe a little bit better because I'm already here doing other shows. So yeah, buddy. I appreciate everybody that stuck around. I appreciate those of you that donated. Alicia, my wife, will scrub your booty. Less issues that way. But anyways, I appreciate you guys. We will see you guys next lunes.
Oh, I forgot to do anything cool.
I was waiting for you. I thought you